Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, brought to you, the Full-Time Fan, by Modelo. Exclusively on TuneIn, this is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Welcome in to another edition on Big 12 Studios as well. He is Ari Timken on social at Ari Sports, A-R-I Sports. I'm James Westling. We've got Taman Turner off to our left, ready to rumble with our Big 12 Today awards. We'll continue. We hit cornerbacks today. First team, second team, and third team cornerbacks. Not safeties, not linebackers. We're talking corners today. Loaded show full of guests in this first hour. Shahan Jayaraja, our national college football beat writer for CBS Sports. He'll join us here in about 30 minutes or so on a Takeaway Tuesday. Ari, what's up?
Takeaway Tuesday. I feel like we need a little bit more jazz.
Takeaway Tuesday.
No, I mean
Turnover Machine Tuesday.
There you go. Triumvirate Tuesday.
Yes.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like a big deal. Sounds like it should be accompanied by trumpets. Trumpet Tuesday. Pterodactyl Tuesday. It's not a T, though.
All the things.
Yeah.
So,
how the heck are you, James?
Yeah, I was.
You were out yesterday.
MIA.
You were out, quote unquote, taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
So we see how things go.
Yeah.
In your household.
Doing fine. Asked my wife if we should do something with the kids. I had a afternoon suggestion. She said I'd rather set myself on fire. So that's how things are going.
What was the suggestion? Setting yourself on fire?
Probably leaving the house in any capacity, but it's fine.
Where were you trying to go?
We've got 5 little ones.
Where were you trying to go?
I don't remember. Slide park or something.
You don't
Some
remember?
suggestion.
It was less than
Trampoline park. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather light myself on fire than do that.
Yeah. So there's a lot. My parents.
Those places are hell on earth.
Full of germs. It's flu season. I was reminded abruptly.
Also, it's like, it's $35.99 a person.
$1 billion.
It's like $1 million to go. Remember the first time I went? It's like, what? I'll never come back. How much to jump? Please.
You have to take your shoes off?
I mean, there are so many places for kids to go and have fun. Like, none of those existed when we were kids. We had the Discovery Zone. You remember the Discovery Zone?
Yes, sir.
That was it. Tubes. It smelled like absolute crap.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got jumping. I mean, they've got so many different places you can go. Slide parks, jumping places. It's insane. And then the expectation that they're going to be taken there every time. No, it's no wonder we're raising the most entitled generation to ever exist.
Get off my lawn energy.
To get off my lawn Tuesday is what it is.
I like it. So I caught the show yesterday. And I would just like to say to both of you guys, everybody looked a little too comfortable. Everybody.
It's because you weren't here.
Enjoying themselves a little too much. Felt a little bit permanent. Probably had breakfast, catered in, all the things.
Should we talk about the Orange Bowl?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about how much happier we were yesterday?
Yeah. Everybody a little bit too excited. My dad's in town. We do have grandparental reinforcements now. He is Ari's number one fan. Like, he'll text me, hey, what'd you think of the show? Ari was great today. Huge Ari fan. Like, he's so excited to meet the guys. He keeps saying he's just going to stop by at some point during the show to meet the guys. But I'm convinced he actually wants to be one of the guys.
Yeah.
He wants to be in the social pipeline.
I bet he's cooler than you.
Way cooler. Way funnier. All of it.
Funnier, I don't know. Cooler, yes.
Well, that's obvious.
You're pretty funny. You're just not cool.
Story of my life. So, yeah, his biggest dream, he's got retirement on the horizon, but I think
my biggest disappointment so far in the Christmas season has been that I expected when you showed up about 5 minutes before the show started that your dad would be here with you. And you came alone. I was expecting you to kind of turn around the corner and I was going to see your dad's face at the same time, and it was going to be like a Westling party. And instead, I just got you. So, Merry Christmas to me, I guess.
Womp, womp.
He is going to be devastated that he has let you down.
Yeah. Well, Can never get it back.
And I could see just this wave of disappointment.
Wave of disappointment.
It's just me, guys. Sorry, I'm back. Welcome me with open arms.
I couldn't sleep last night. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, is it time? It's time to go in. Can't wait to meet Bill. It's not time yet.
But Bill will be in the house.
There's a tree. There's presents under the tree. I can't open the presents yet. It's Christmas morning, and I'm being withheld from opening the presents.
Bill is your
It's a huge tree. It's very well decorated. There's presents everywhere. Looks amazing. I can't open other presents. They're all for me. Unbelievable.
They arrived last night. He walks in. He said, not even like a hello, no hug. Like, he just walks in the door. He says, I am so fired up. I am ready for tomorrow, my national radio debut. He says,
and
I'll
he's
be there.
late.
He said, I'll be there by 5:30. I've got some vocal exercises to run through. I got some good stuff. If you don't want to put me on the air, it's okay. I just want to meet the guys. But if you do decide to have a special guest, he'll be ready.
Yeah, after what Bill Self said last night on the Darren Peterson saga, I don't know that we want him on air as a K-State fan. So.
All right, what did he say?
Oh, just, basically what we've already known. He just said it publicly. That Darren Peterson's family's calling the shots.
I think he's doing well. That they're going to make a decision. That they've made a decision, which I don't disagree with it at all. That they want him to be as close to 100% as possible when he comes back, and he's just not quite there yet. But it's a day-to-day deal. He will be. So I wish he could have played tonight, but fact of the matter, other guys got some run and they did well. So hopefully, we'll give some other guys some opportunities. Will hopefully make us, deeper as we get into conference play.
Yeah, just to clarify, who'd you mean by they when you said they made the decision about Darren?
Oh, his family.
Okay.
Yeah, his family. The thing about it is, we talked about this. We're in agreement with the family that he should not play until he feels good. We're in agreement. But I'm not. I'm not inside his head or his body that I can determine if he feels good enough or not. That's up to him. But he wants to be out there. He's just not quite ready.
I'd love to give Bill Self the credit here for finally saying, the truth out loud, saying the quiet part out loud. But at the same time, because Bill's been put in a bad spot, it's a spot that he put himself into by recruiting this guy. You recruit not just the guy, but the family. That's why I've been saying kind of throughout this process that it's obvious that a coach like Kelvin Sampson wouldn't recruit Darren Peterson. Now, whether or not he had the $3 million to recruit him, that remains to be seen. But you're paying him $3 million to basically treat this like an exhibition season. I'm willing to give it another month. I'm willing to give it a month. January 31st, Kansas plays BYU. Then they follow that up a few days later and play Texas Tech on February 2nd. If we're still waiting for Darren Peterson to come back, I'm out. And let me ask you this. Fran Fraschilla was on with us yesterday. He said he doesn't think Kansas is a tournament team without Darren Peterson. Do you agree?
No, strongly disagree. Without Darren Peterson, they are a tournament team. They might be a top 6 seed tournament team. I think they're still a top 5 or top 6 Big 12 basketball team.
There's a good chance they're one and done in the tournament. I don't know. I guess I have to see them in Big 12 play without Peterson to get a better sense. But, yeah, I think there are guys that Bryson Tiller last night really stepped up. Like, there are some guys that are stepping up. But, Bill Self said the quiet part out loud. And though he looks like a victim within this, he's most definitely not a victim. He's the one that handed out the check, $3 million for this guy to basically treat this season like an exhibition.
It's like a marriage. When you marry your partner, you don't just marry your partner, you marry the family as well. And Darren Peterson's super close with his family. Like, he told us at Media Days that the first time he ever dunked, it was an alley-oop from his dad. And he went through this core memory during COVID, which, think about that. COVID feels like it was yesterday, and Darren Peterson was in, 6th grade dunking a basketball for the first time. So it is very much a family thing. So do you feel any relief in any way that Bill Self finally said the quiet part out loud?
No, because, I mean, we've pretty well documented it that, like, he's played in 4 games, hasn't finished a game. Like, he's sick, he's got this, that, the other. Like, this porridge is too hot, this porridge is too cold, right? I mean, this is the game we've been playing all year, and so it's been pretty obvious that it's not Bill Self's decision and it's not Darren Peterson's decision. Or we keep hearing about how much he wants to play, which to me indicates that it's an external force. But I'll believe he wants to play when I see it.
Right.
If he wants to play, then he'd play.
Tell you what, the reason I really like your January deadline, because basketball teams hit their peak in the month of February and early March. So you have a whole month without Peterson if you're going to shut him down to get your team ready for the tournament. And a lot can happen between now and then in terms of how many Big 12 wins and losses this Kansas team has, but you can make or break your season in the month of February. That's when the games matter.
Yeah.
In the NCAA Tournament Committee, I know that they say non-conference games matter, and yes, they can help your resume, but truly what you do in your last 10 games leading into the tournament where you have signature wins, that's what I believe teams are judged on.
Yeah. So, I mean, at some point, this 100% thing is ridiculous. If the expectation is that he's only going to play if he's 100%, then shut him down. Shut him down. Playing is inherently making you not 100%. Shut him down. I've been saying that for 2 weeks now. Shut him down. I don't care how bad this team is without him. I'd much rather deal with the team without him and know it than have this continually hanging over the head. And, like, the idea, again, that he needs to be 100% is egregious. It's egregious. They're treating this season like an exhibition and getting paid to do it. They are having their cake and eating it too. It's a disgrace. It's a joke. And it falls on Bill Self.
Yeah, it's well said. Kansas paying Darren Peterson over $3 million to not play the majority of the minutes this season. He's Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo. We've got a football game that is 8 days away. Texas Tech and Oregon. The early lines have Oregon as a 1.5-point favorite. Both coaches, Dan Lanning for Oregon and Joey McGuire, took to the podium yesterday, and we have started to preview this potential matchup before Oregon even played James Madison. But here's what Joey McGuire says about Oregon and what stands out when it comes to their physicality and everything else as they get ready for the Orange Bowl.
They're very physical up front. They've got multiple defensive tackles, but the guys that really jump off tape are 1 in 52, extremely physical. We've got to do a good job of, taking care of the down linemen, and then the other thing that they're really impressive, they got 3 running backs that play at such a high level. 2 are true freshmen. If they're, and they're home run hitters, they're very explosive. I mean, we saw that Saturday in the JMU game. I mean, you look up and they've already scored 30-plus points. I think they had 5 touchdowns on 5 drives, so they're really explosive. So, we've got to do a good job of, making them drive the field.
I'm excited to see this game play out in the trenches. He highlights the running backs, but he started with the defensive linemen. And Oregon, like, their defense is built a lot like Texas Tech. Their top 2 guys on paper are a pair of linebackers who flow freely because of another Bear in college football. Bear Alexander is their big defensive tackle who's got like 50 tackles and almost double-digit TFLs. He's just a giant space eater. So outside of him, their top 3 tacklers are their 3 linebackers. They put more linebackers on the field than Texas Tech, but the defenses are pretty similar in the way they operate.
Yeah, and I think the thing for me, the battle within the the game within the game in this one is the Oregon offensive line, which is once again a Joe Moore Award finalist against that defensive front of Texas Tech, one of the best, if not the best, in college football. And it is strength on strength. It is 100% strength on strength. And so to me, if Texas Tech can generate pressure with their 4, that's going to create, that's going to make things a lot easier. And then the other part to that, too, is the Oregon rushing attack. Is Davidson going to be healthy? A guy that didn't look fully healthy heading out of their quarterfinal or their first round matchup. So, I mean, he's their best physical rusher between the tackles. And that's, again, like Oregon hits you with explosives off of their run game. And so if Texas Tech limits them to what they've been limiting most teams all year in the run game, 2 yards a carry, then you've got a lot of third and long situations in which you can get after the quarterback and make things uncomfortable. If not, you're in a situation where Oregon can hit you with explosives, which is what they live on.
Yeah, they've got 3 running backs that all average over 6 yards per carry. They don't have a 1,000-yard rusher on their roster like Texas Tech, but they have 3 guys that are in that kind of 500 to 800-yard range, and then Moore is elusive as well at quarterback. So we've been talking about Texas Tech and kind of if they had a weakness, it would be their red zone offense. It would be, Baron Morton's health, among other things. Texas Tech coach Joey McGuire broke it down in more detail what Texas Tech has to do to beat Oregon.
I think this game is going to be really – we talk all the time about complementary football, how we play off of each other. Indiana did a phenomenal job of doing that, meaning their offense was on the field probably longer than, anybody else or comparable to some of the, tough games that they've had is that Indiana was really effective on offense. We've got to be effective on offense to help our defense. And then, I think with those guys, it all starts with their run game, where they create explosive is off their run game. And so we've got to eliminate some of those explosives, get the ball down, make them drive the field. And the biggest thing, though, is you stop the run, now you have earned the right to rush the passer, and our defensive line has got to show up. They've shown up every week, putting pressure on the quarterback. This quarterback's special. If he decides to come out, he's probably number 1 quarterback taken in the draft, him or the Indiana kid, but he's really good. So we've got to put some pressure on him, and we've got to do a good job of stopping the run to get to do that.
Well, if there's one person who would know about Dante Moore's stock for the NFL, it's Texas Tech and their general manager, James Blanchard, who is so connected with NFL general managers. That's a big part of Texas Tech's scouting department is working with NFL GMs, and they took guys that the NFL really liked that a lot of college teams didn't like because of their measurables. So they know how good Dante Moore is.
Yeah, and, again, he's a quarterback that on film looks really good. Against JMU, they scored 5 touchdowns in less than 5 plays in their first 5 drives. So, it is a fire-breathing dragon of an offense when you let them run on first and second down for big yardage. And that's how they stay out of the chains. It's basic football here, if you stop the run early downs, you're in way better position to make Dante Moore uncomfortable. And look, that's also an issue for Baron Morton. Baron Morton's taken some sacks this year. He's considerably less effective when against the rush, which makes sense, right? Most quarterbacks are not as good and effective against the run. So, getting to the quarterback is going to be huge in this game.
Oregon opens as a 1.5-point favorite. Now, Oregon coach Dan Lanning talked about the college football playoff and how he thinks this game should be played, the quarterfinal round, at a home venue, which means Oregon would be the road team in that hypothetical, this game being played in Lubbock in the eyes of Dan Lanning.
I think it's just more of an indicator that the way we do playoffs in college football is messed up, right? In my opinion, we're really excited to be going to the Orange Bowl, but this game should be played at Texas Tech, right? They're the higher-seeded team. We should play a week right after the last game. The next playoff game should be the next Saturday. The next playoff game should be the next Saturday. The next playoff game should be the next Saturday, and the championship game.
Who else has their playoffs at the site of the higher seed until you get the NFL?
You mean basically everybody else?
Every other professional sport.
Yeah, and I think the 12-team playoff is great because you get a little bit of all of this. But, I think we're all in agreement here that a home playoff game in Lubbock Yeah, it's like you get a bye as a top 4 seed, but don't get a home playoff game. And I mean, forget about like all of the like cost benefit of that. The whatever the associated boost it does for your local economy. Like just having a home playoff game, a frenzied crowd, like it that's tough. Now Oregon has to travel a long way. So at least it's an advantageous spot for them to go from Eugene, Oregon to Miami, Florida. But yeah, I'm with Dan Lanning. Easy to say too when you're in this situation when you're Dan Lanning.
Right. Orange Bowl better than Fiesta Bowl, certainly for Texas Tech in terms of the location. Yeah, and I think I saw an article that Oxford, Mississippi, with Ole Miss hosting a first-round playoff game, I think the estimated number was like $70 million, the boost that it would do to the local economy that weekend, just that one game against Tulane. So a huge, huge number. All right, coming up next here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, we are brought to you, The Full-Time Fan, by Modelo. We are on Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios. We'll work through our Big 12 Today, all conference teams. We've already done the offensive side of the football with quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, offensive line. We've done defensive ends, defensive tackles. We are doing cornerbacks today as we dive into the secondary, first team, second team, and third team. He's Ari, I'm James. This is Big 12 Radio powered by Modelo.
They're going for it here.
Let me give
A holiday edition of Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Heard on TuneIn, where you just heard T-Chains in his sports update, covering all things Big 12. Nicely done. With Ari Timken, I'm James Westling. We are on Big 12 Studios, the Big 12 Fast channel. And you could also hear all of these Big 12 bowl games. There are so many right here on TuneIn on Bowl Season Radio. Bowl Season Radio returns for another season. They provide exclusive national audio coverage of all the college bowl games, carrying 18 postseason matchups, many of them featuring Big 12 teams from December through February, including the college football playoffs. So Big 12 Radio and Bowl Season Radio teaming up right here on TuneIn. We'll be previewing many of these Big 12 bowl games later on in the show, but we are currently bringing you our Big 12 Today all-conference teams. We've done the offense. We're over to the defense now. We dive into the secondary. We've got first team, second team, and third team. One guy, one position, cornerbacks. So, Ari, you have the floor. Who is your...
two groups left after by my count?
We have safeties and linebackers.
Yeah, two groups.
Unless we're doing special teams.
Sure. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't we do special teams?
Why wouldn't we?
Place kicker, punter, returner,
So,
long snapper.
I'd say definitely long snapper. Easy pick.
All right. My third team cornerback is Colorado corner Preston Hodge.
Okay.
13 PBUs, an interception, had 56 total tackles. Led the Big 12 in pass breakups and passes defended, and was all Big 12 honorable mention. I mean, he was hurt by the fact that he was on a bad team, but he was the best player, arguably, on a bad team this year. And, certainly you could recognize Bryce Pollock, who's a guy that just missed my list, or Dalton Johnson, Smith Snowden, Latrell McCutcheon. Like, there's tons of guys on this list that didn't make my top three, but I liked just Preston Hodge, the overall numbers, again, 56 total tackles, so he had to make a lot of tackles on an island, deep in the secondary because of Colorado's front. So Preston Hodge, for me, third team, all Big 12 corner.
All right, Preston Hodge, also a transfer to Colorado from Liberty. Who is the best Liberty transfer on the Colorado football team this season?
Yeah, no question about that, huh?
How wild is that? Love the pick. All right, my third team, all Big 12 cornerback. I am going with Evan Johnson from BYU. 6 foot, 185 pounds. He's been with BYU since 2022. He's a guy that kind of steadily worked his way up the depth chart. Didn't play much his first year there. All Big 12 second team per PFSN's rankings. He had 4 interceptions, including a pick 6 and a huge, I thought, turning point in BYU's early part of the season. If coaches are breaking the season down into thirds, I thought his pick 6 right before halftime against East Carolina, which was like week 3 of the season, totally swung that game and put it out of reach. It was a massive play. He also had 44 tackles. He had a ton of PBUs. He even had a sack. Like, he's a guy that will not only be in a lot of man-to-man coverage situations on an island against the opponent's best receiver, but he'll even blitz off the edge. I love Evan Johnson from BYU.
All right, and this is great because I'm sure our lists are going to be very different, and we've had some other position groups where our lists have been virtually the same, so this is great. There's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
My second team, all Big 12 corner, is Trey Dan Stukes, the Arizona corner. I hadn't recognized at least one of the two between he and Dalton Johnson because of how disruptive those guys were. When you think about Arizona's defense, their corners were as good as anybody in college football. 52 tackles for Trey Dan Stukes, 6 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, and 1 sack. Arizona had 2 corners with 4 interceptions this year between he and Dalton Johnson. So, again, they were very disruptive as a secondary and had to have representation from the best secondary in the Big 12, given what they did for interceptions. Trey Dan Stukes, my second team, all Big 12 corner.
Yeah, I love what Anthony did on Big 12 Studios, a unanimous second team, all Big 12 today, cornerback. Between the two of us, because this is the one that we both hit on, Trey Dan Stukes, the corner from Arizona. He's a prototypical NFL corner, or Arizona corner. They like him long, with really long arms and those wingspans. 6'2", 198 pounds. A great story. He joined Arizona as a walk-on before he earned a scholarship and he's just blown up as a defensive leader. All Big 12 first team, third team All-American from the AP this season. He had those 4 interceptions. He had 24 solo tackles, up in the 50s when it comes to assisted tackles as well. He had some massive, momentum-changing plays, which is a thing I look for. But a high-coverage corner, ball skills, he's got the catch radius, he's got the size. Trey Dan Stukes is my second team, all Big 12 corner as well.
Well, I stand corrected. I guess we don't have a variety, but obviously such an incredible performer this year. Hard to not go his direction. Okay, curious if we're going to have the same first team, all Big 12 corner.
I don't think we are.
Mine is Keith Abney, the Arizona State corner. First team, all Big 12 corner. When you think about the loss of Xavier Alford and what that meant to the secondary, Abney just was phenomenal. 12 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. When you think about just the variety of disruption, not just in the interceptions, but in forced fumbles, creating turnovers, generating big plays for Arizona State, I just think that the disruption profile for me is what set him apart from everybody else, and the ability to both take it away through interceptions and forced fumbles.
Big-time game changer. All right, my first team, all Big 12 cornerback, is Bryce Pollock from Texas Tech. And I know you're thinking, well, Texas Tech is so good up front, and those linebackers are like hybrid edge/safety guys that can play all over the field, so the job for the cornerback is easy. Well, Bryce Pollock, even with limited throws, his direction still led the Big 12 in interceptions with 5. He also had 7 pass breakups, top 10 in the country, all Big 12 first team, an All-American according to Pro Football Focus, transfer from Mississippi State where he started for the Bulldogs in 2024. Tremendous length, 6 foot, 195 pounds. He's going to be a pro. He started all 13 games, had 46 tackles, and held opposing quarterbacks to one of the lowest passer ratings in the nation when he was targeted on throws. They leaned on him as a lockdown outside cover corner. Bryce Pollock is my first team, all Big 12 cornerback. The Mississippi State transfer who started his career at Charlotte was a 3-star recruit out of high school and has had a tremendous season.
And you can see this in the highlights, but anecdotally, just watching Texas Tech this year, this dude did not miss an open field tackle. He was consistently one-on-one in situations down the field, and he just is as sure-handed as it gets. And that's, I think, the big secret about Tech's defense is not just that their front 6 is really good. It's not just that their defensive front is really good. It's that they're very, very good everywhere. I'll be honest. I didn't pick Bryce Pollock because I had some Texas Tech fatigue. I was trying to give love to other schools. I should have had Bryce Pollock on my list, but I wanted to add Preston Hodge because, my goodness, we haven't mentioned most of these other schools in the Big 12.
Right.
But it makes sense because Texas Tech has been a runaway freight train, especially on defense.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Putting these lists together and really over the collection of the last week, it's like so many Texas Tech guys, so many BYU guys. It's like, well, it makes sense.
Right.
They played in the Big 12 championship game. So I hear you on that. All right, coming up next year on Big 12 Today, we are brought to you, the Full-Time Fan, by Modelo. It's a holiday edition of Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. We are chatting with Shahan Jayaraja, our good buddy, national college football writer for CBS Sports. He'll touch on the BYU Notre Dame series, among many, many other topics with Shahan after the break. This is Big 12 Today. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Continuing with our Big 12 conference conversation here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, with you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, 8 to 11 Eastern Time. With Ari Timken, I'm James Westling. We welcome in Shehan Jayaraja, national college football writer for CBS Sports. Good morning, Shehan.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Man, we're good. Want to touch on this Notre Dame BYU series. So Notre Dame and USC is pausing their series. BYU also had Cal cancel a 26-27 series pretty recently. So these two team up, and this is a matchup that is really going to pop for 2026 and 2027. But wanted to get your take.
Yeah, I mean, I love it for BYU. I think that this is the kind of game that really gives them the opportunity to buy some national cachet. In fact, one of the reasons that I was so disappointed that Notre Dame opted out of a bowl game was that I was really excited to see BYU get an opportunity to go against another legitimate top 15 opponent. And I think that obviously, winning that kind of game next year would be huge for this program just in terms of their national visibility. But I think also just even being competitive in that game and showing that they belong on that stage would be huge for validating what Kalani Sitake is building. Now, of course, I don't love the cost, right? I don't love that Notre Dame is pausing their series with USC, more the other way around, I guess you could say. There's so many things that are traditional and historic about college football that feel like they're falling to the wayside, but I give BYU a lot of credit. If USC is going to mess around, well, I'll take advantage of it.
Sean, there were some reports about, teams avoiding playing Notre Dame because they're not as big of a draw as they used to be, and do you think the USC decision went into this?
I think that it's a factor, but I think that the bigger thing is just I think that USC right now is very sort of internally focused, I guess, if that makes sense. They are trying to create a manageable path for themselves. And certainly, I mean, I think that you can say that a lot of Lincoln Riley programs have been trying to move in that direction, right? Trying to figure out something manageable, figure out something that's doable. I mean, he didn't want to go to the SEC. He didn't want to go to the Big Ten. I think they're trying to make their path as comfortable as possible, frankly, to make it to the college football playoff. Of course, they come one game short this year. If they don't have the Notre Dame game this year and they have a cupcake, maybe they're in the college football playoff, right? So I think that it's more about trying to make their path easy than it is anything else. But I think that certainly, I mean, Notre Dame has so many advantages in terms of its independence and the way that it's able to build a schedule and not having to go through conference play and things like that. I think that people are a little turned off by it, and we'll see whether it's something that's palatable long term.
Yeah, I mean, USC said that, their decision, a lot that went into it was the college football playoff and the playoff era scheduling and that fear of having a late season loss and it keeping a team out of the college football playoff. So you look at, their schedule for next year, why not make it as light as possible when you see all these teams in the college football playoff, like a Texas A&M who only played one ranked opponent all season long? I mean, do you think the college football playoff is now, this is one more layer of the impact that it's having on the sport as a whole?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely is. I think that, in some cases too, now I'm glad that they didn't reward it this year, but yeah, you do have a year like 2024 where a team losing a game early in the year counts different, like you said, than it did late. I think that's been a bad precedent. That said, I hope that Notre Dame, not making it after starting 0-2 helps turn that precedent a little bit. But, there's a lot of layers to this. Now, I think that there's also some programs that think if we have an easier path, that's going to make things easier for us. Well, I mean, the reality is too, right? If you don't play very many good games and you lose your good games, you're still going to be in rough shape. I mean, Notre Dame figured that out this year, starting 0-2 and losing both their top 15 games. So it's a balancing act. I think everybody's trying to figure out what this is supposed to look like, what the best way to compete is, what the best pathway is. But, I think that for USC, they've invested a lot of money into Lincoln Riley, and I think that they're trying to give him as manageable a path as possible to make it worth their while.
We're talking with Shehan Jayaraja here from CBS Sports. Shehan, I'm curious for kind of your big picture thoughts on this Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a fascinating matchup. I think that this is, I think that these are two of the best teams in college football, two teams that can legitimately win a national championship. It might be the only matchup in this quarterfinals that I think is between two teams that can win a national championship. So a little bit of a rough draw from that perspective for Texas Tech. We saw, of course, what Oregon was capable of during their fantastic performance against James Madison. Just the way that they go over the top whenever they're able to stay in structure is really impressive. But I think that if you're Texas Tech, you also see some things that you feel like you can take advantage of, right? I think they're going to have a lot of success stopping the run against this Oregon team whose offense is frankly built on stopping the run. I think that the big question of this game is, can they get all the way to Dante Moore? Because when Dante Moore is pressured, he is a much different quarterback than whenever he's able to just stand there and deal in structure. Offensively, of course, I think that Texas Tech is going to have to come up with some explosives. But, this isn't an Oregon defense that I think is as good as the one that they had last year, especially in the middle. So if you're able to run the ball, inside, I think that changes the complexion of this game. So Texas Tech's going to have to figure out whether they can do that. They're going to have to stress test this offensive line. But if they're able to do that, I think that there are many pathways to them having success against this Oregon team.
Shahan, who do you think is the biggest X factor for Texas Tech? Like, this guy has to play really well, and I wouldn't necessarily say come out of nowhere because they have so many guys that are like future pros. But if there's an X factor for the Red Raiders, either side of the ball, what do you think it is?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'll give you sort of the most basic answer, which is the quarterback, Baron Morton, right? Like, I think that he has to really play under control. He has to not turn the ball over. He has to be accurate with it. But I think that by extension, like, Cam Dickey at running back just has to be able to take on a full workload, right? Because you head into this matchup, if you're able to control the game on the ground, it changes the complexion of this game. Like, this is a big time matchup. And I think that, Cam Dickey in the second half of the year, his emergence, I think, was one of the biggest storylines for Texas Tech. That was kind of the thing that changed most after that Arizona State loss, was that they really unleashed Cam Dickey, and he proved that he could be a big time all-purpose running back. If he's able to have a good performance in this game, I think that it gives him a chance to be really successful.
Who's the most important player for Texas Tech in this game?
Yeah, well, I think that, Cam Dickey, like I mentioned, I think that also, when you look at David Bailey, like, he is obviously one of the national leaders in sacks, and I think that, again, he's going to need to push Dante Moore off his spots, because Dante Moore, again, they get the ball out so quick. They make such good decisions. He is so accurate when he's not pressured. You have to push him off his mark. And I think that David Bailey, he obviously is he has been so good for this entire season, but this is an Oregon offensive line that's a little different than a lot of the ones that he's played to this point. So he's going to have to win his one-on-one matchups. He's going to have a chance to make himself a lot of money if he plays well in this game and maybe push himself into the first round of the NFL draft and higher up that draft board. But David Bailey has to have his best moment in his biggest spot.
Talking with Shahan Jayaraja, national college football writer for CBS Sports. Shahan, you have a screenshot from a piece on CBS that I want to get your thoughts on. And it is that, right now people are looking at the group of five as the problem with the college football playoff. And they go on to say if finances continue to work the way they're working in this sport, it's only a matter of time before the ACC and Big 12 get the same treatment people are giving Tulane and James Madison. After all, it's the Big 10 and SEC who have been handed complete control of the future of the format as a compromise to simply let the ACC and the Big 12 continue to exist. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that people are being very short-sighted about this. I think that, obviously saying, well, the group of five can't compete, so they shouldn't be included. Like, it's very easy to turn that around and say, well, why should, Why should one of these ACC programs get a chance to be in? Why should a Big 12 program get in when, a Big 12 program hasn't won a national championship in a very long time? And then I think it gets even further than that, right? It gets into, all right, well, what about half these Big 10 programs? Why should they be considered part of it? A bunch of these SEC programs, why should they be part of this, right? Like, I think that we very quickly end up in a world where there are only, 20 to 30 teams that will be allowed to compete for the postseason in college football and that are considered to be playing major college football. I think that we're a lot closer to that than people realize. I think we're heading in that direction in a lot of ways that I don't like. And I think that people don't understand the long-term ramifications of it. Because again, like people, for example, to go back to it, like in 2022, TCU makes the national title game and they're not, people don't clap for them for beating Michigan. People say, well, clearly they couldn't compete with Georgia. Why should they be allowed to compete in the future, right? So I think that a lot of fans of Power 4 teams that aren't the elite of the elite in terms of money and brand and history, I think that there are a lot who are a little overconfident about how confident their place is in this landscape long term. And so, look, for me, I think that college football is a grassroots sport. I wouldn't have fallen in love with college football if I didn't go to Baylor at the time that I did and they weren't playing major college football. And I know that there are so many stories like that. And there are going to be stories, too, of students who go to James Madison or North Texas or South Florida or Tulane during this year run and also fall in love with college football and maybe get involved with it long term. Like, this stuff matters, that we have a broad sport. So I really push back on this idea that that only teams that we are confident can compete or come from the big conferences are the only ones that should be in, because I think that if you don't have access, you have no pathway to even proving whether you have a chance to be in or not.
Yeah, I want to just continue on this point because it seems, Shahan, like, it used to be like the old trope of like, they ain't played nobody. Like that was just sort of the college football piece to where like you just always go with any team. Like, oh, look at who they play. Their schedule's terrible. They haven't played anybody. Like that. This is the new age version of that. Like gatekeeping who should and shouldn't be playing in the playoff. And I mean, I'd push back on the 30 to 40 teams. I think when it gets down to it, you're probably talking about 5 to 10 teams. It's really the teams, at the top of the recruiting rankings every year. That's what it feels like. We're heading towards a situation in which we're gatekeeping basically any programs that are recruiting at the top of the food chain.
No, I think that's 100% the direction that it heads. I mean, I obviously I poke fun at them sometimes, but it's like there are multiple major programs that have legitimately tried to change the sport to benefit themselves when they don't win football games, right? Like, if Texas is winning Big 12 titles in the late 2010s, they don't go to the SEC. They're mad that they're not winning. That it's as simple as that. And there are, like you said, 5 to 10 programs that have disproportionate power in the sport. And this is not unique to college football. The Yankees are very different than the Pirates, right? Like, the Lakers are very different than the Milwaukee Bucks. But in every other sport, there's sort of this understanding of the collective good of having a landscape of teams that are worth following and have a chance to play at a high level, even if some are advantaged over others. Well, college football, I think, is one of the sports where those monetary advantages directly lead to success more than other sports because we kind of have this chaotic system. And I think the other thing, too, is that there is such little willpower and such little direction from above to create a landscape that makes sense for everybody. And so I think that that's one of the existential issues of college football. Again, like I said, people who go to mid-tier schools or even group of 5 schools, they just won't watch college football if they don't feel like they're not part of major college football. And I think that that's an existential issue that people don't take seriously enough.
Chatting with Shahan Jayaraja from CBS and CBS Sports here on Big 12 Today, on Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios. Shahan, want to get your thoughts on all the Big 12 quarterbacks that are in the portal. We know about Sorsby, but since we had you on last, TCU quarterback Josh Hoover has entered his name or plans to enter the transfer portal after the season. How many teams in the Big 12 will have new quarterbacks, and do you think any of these guys end up, like Hoover specifically, what does his future look like?
Yeah, I think that the ones who are moving, well, let me even take a step back. I think that a lot of people think that this stuff just becomes about money, and money's important, don't get me wrong, but I think that when you look at the difference between last year and this year, I think that the players moving on says a lot more about the transition that some of these programs are going through, right? And so, when you talk about Josh Hoover, like I think that a lot of these guys are going to have major opportunities. At one point, I'm not saying that he's connected there, but like at one point, Josh Hoover was committed to Indiana, right? And so I expect that he's going to have some dialogue with them. I imagine that he's going to have some dialogue with the Miamis and with the Oregons and that sort of school. So, and I think that that's true of almost every one of the quarterbacks that's moving in the portal. Rocco Becht, obviously, the natural connection is with Penn State, where Matt Campbell is the head coach. For Brendan Sorsby, there's been connection to Texas Tech. Like, I think that a lot of these quarterbacks who are looking to move have some idea of where they're headed, because there's only so many buyers available right now in the portal. Like, it's not going to be a great quarterback year, and I think that there's a reason that these particular guys have decided to move on at this moment.
Definitely. Good stuff. Shahan Jayaraja, national college football writer for CBS Sports, joining us on Big 12 today. Shahan, thank you so much for taking some time out of your holiday week to join us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, man. See ya.
See ya.
Shahan Jayaraja, national college football writer for CBS Sports, touching on the transfer portal, previewing Texas Tech and Oregon, and the Notre Dame BYU college football series that was just announced. We'll take a break here on Big 12 today, powered by Modelo. Up next, we are joined by Pete Sousa. He joins us covering college basketball, play-by-play for ESPN and NBC. He's our next guest on a guest-full Takeaway Tuesday here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios. Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn with Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. We've got T-Chains on the controls, Anthony Smith, our producer on the TV side, the Big 12 Studios, Big 12's FAST channel. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. We'll be previewing all the bowl games featuring Big 12 teams later on in the show. Games you can hear on Bowl Season Radio. They've got 18 national audio broadcasts featuring some of the biggest brands in college football, including many teams from the Big 12. You can catch those right here on TuneIn. Pete Sousa, the NBC and ESPN college basketball play-by-play announcer, will join us from Waco here in just a moment. Baylor's an interesting case study for college basketball because there's like a top half of the Big 12, a bottom half of the Big 12, and they're kind of right in the middle, like Ken Palm, number 29. So excited to get the latest insight from Pete, who joins us here in about 5 minutes. Pete has really high TTV this morning. TTV is text tone volatility.
Okay.
Your TTV is through the roof.
What does that mean?
Nonstop. The text tone volatility.
How volatile your text is?
Yeah, it's just hard to read. It can escalate emotionally. It can decelerate emotionally. It can be real flat.
What are you trying to say?
High TTV message.
What are you trying to say?
Your text tone is wheels off.
Okay.
As is Pete's this morning.
You're about to get no text. How about that? Then you can't even read my text tone.
Audio messages only.
No, just gonna not.
How'd you feel
respond.
about my audio message this weekend? I was driving. It felt safer to send you an audio.
No, it just felt like a minute and a half of my life I'll never get back. Basically, James was sitting.
How long can I stall this?
James was sitting in traffic due to Alabama's bus going from Oklahoma City to Norman, and we all had to hear about it.
Yeah, I had to build the crescendo, and then bam, hit you with it.
No, it was a lovely voice to text. I
Could've
sat
seen-
through all 90 seconds of it and thought, yeah, they are playing a football game
You
tonight.
were on the edge of your seat. Taman loved it. He was a huge fan.
He thought it was the president. James was confused.
He
thought it was
responded
president.
right away.
I watched arguably the most underrated Christmas movie of all time last night.
Okay, what was that?
The Santa Claus. You ever seen it?
The Santa Claus.
With Tim Allen?
Yes, that's a banger. Underrated.
I mean,
top 5 easy.
Is it top 5 easy?
Oh,
I
I
feel
think
like I don't know that it's recognized like that. It is it combines the power of Christmas cheer with the seriousness of a man who thinks he is Santa Claus and has kidnapped his child. You're watching, you're like,
Wait a minute.
If this happened in real life, you'd think this guy was absolutely nuts. And that's how everybody around him feels. They get the police involved. The SWAT team is all around the house. It's amazing. And then it's like all these SWAT team members have their guns like pointed at the house, and then they see Santa take off. It's like, oh, how lovely.
You serious, Clark?
It's a great movie.
It is. That's a banger.
It's one of Tim Allen's greatest performances. Now, I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen the second and third, but it's a movie that every year I watch, and I'm like, I forget how good this movie is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the second one is like okay, the third is a no-go.
No go.
Yeah. We've been trying to power our way through Home Alone. We can only watch about a half hour at a time before something happens with the children.
Huh.
But we're working.
There's not enough
through it.
excitement.
I don't.
Saturday Night Live
I
had a
don't.
great bit this weekend with like a Home Alone bit on, he forgets to reset all of the traps when the family gets home. So like the family gets home and he basically kills his entire family
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
because all of the,
I've seen this gone viral. I haven't watched
he
it.
doesn't reset any of the traps. So it's like, oh no, don't do that. And they're like, oh, grab this, it'll help. And it's like, no, that's just kerosene. It's like,
So all the traps just keep going off?
yeah, he basically kills his entire family.
Let me ask you guys this, because you guys are older millennials and I'm a younger millennial. There's a debate between
Come again?
you guys are older millennials. We're
think so.
younger millennials.
Okay.
There's a debate between younger millennials on which Home Alone was better, the first or the second. Because they're both really good.
Are they?
Yes.
The second's better.
The second Home Alone is better?
Yeah.
See, I'm on the fence. I
don't know why you had to say you people, but I think we can all agree that it's an argument worth having, regardless of how old you are.
I just know it's big between early to mid 30-year-old.
What other topics would you like to debate with us, Taman?
I'm gonna just
Do you want to moderate this debate? Would you like? So where are you on the Home Alone 1 versus 2?
Well, I don't even know if I've seen the second one.
What?
The first one was that good. And then I'm thinking,
Come
I'm
on,
sitting here thinking,
James.
wait a minute, are we watching the second one? Time is a flat circle.
I'm kind of ashamed of you.
I know.
Yeah, that is kind of sad.
Pretty much, yeah, on
Just
the
the
reg.
movies that
You were in
haven't
elementary
seen.
school when that movie came out.
How could you have
The
not have
first
seen
one
the
or the
second?
second one?
Both.
Taman, pump the
Both.
brakes.
They're like 2
All right.
years apart, year and a half apart.
Do you even Christmas, bro?
We are so Christmas. We are so
Doesn't
Christmas.
put up lights.
All we do.
Is the tree even
We've
up?
got lights on the
Won't
inside
watch
of the
Home
house.
Alone 2.
From the outside,
We've got
it looks like it might be haunted. But you walk in,
Listen,
and
honey.
it lights up. We've got lights hanging from the ceiling. That's
No,
a whole
it's
new
way
thing.
easier to hang lights inside than outside.
Right. It
And
looks-
why?
it's
And why put the
very
party out for everybody to see?
No, no.
You know, that's a great point.
We private in party.
We need to ask Bill Wessling when he comes in here, like, what happened to James?
If he's
Yeah,
coming
just,
in here.
just do that. Just
Where did
lead
you-
with that.
Bill, where did you go wrong?
Just lead with that.
Bill, we found out. I was today years old when I found out your son hasn't seen Home Alone 2. Are you serious?
Is Pete on? Is he ready? All right, there we go. Save me, Pete. We got Pete Sousa, NBC and ESPN.
Why would you admit that you haven't seen Home Alone 2?
Play-by-play. Well, I don't just lie about things like Top Gun Maverick over here.
I didn't lie about
Talked about Top Gun Maverick 20 times on this show. Never mentioned he's never seen it until.
I didn't lie. I just omitted a fact.
Yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie. I've been told it's a lie. Lying by omission. All right, Pete.
I'm told it's a lie. My wife tells me that's a lie.
Exactly. We're just talking about Baylor because Baylor's kind of like in this no man's land.
Pete,
when it
have you
comes
seen
to
Home Alone
ping pong.
2?
Yes. I mean, and who? If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, you might have to leave America.
See?
Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
That brought the country back to the movie theater.
Yes, it did.
Not
Pete.
me. Unfortunately, not me. The problem, Pete, is I only wanted to see it in the movie theater, and it's not a movie you could see at home. So that was basically why I didn't see it.
All right. I mean, look, you're off the hook. I like you too much, Ari. So it does.
What was
you
the
get
other-
a pass with me.
There was
But
another
Home
movie
Alone
we
2
found out
Home
that-
Alone 2 is great. The Kevin isn't with us part. Is that 1 or 2? That's 2, I think. I
it's 2.
love Home Alone. 2.
Donald Trump has a cameo in 2.
I mean, let's go. It was a great flick.
Wait, what was
Yeah.
the movie we found out last week you hadn't seen, and I almost lost my mind?
It was when we were power ranking.
Rob Reiner movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, but Joe Pesci's character in Home Alone.
So good.
If you ever notice, he has a wedding band on.
Yes.
Like, what's going on there? Who is his wife? Where is she? Like, I could
true.
do that. That blows my mind. I'm always wondering, like, what is happening there?
That would be we should do like a mock spin-off on Joe Pesci's wife. Like, where have you been? You're coming home, you got nails in your face.
Why is this faucet always running?
Pete, we were just talking about Baylor, and they're number 29 right now in Kim Pom. There's a bunch of teams that are, in the top 15 in the Big 12. And then you've got all these potential sleeper teams that are like wedged between 50 and 60. And then you have Baylor kind of right in the middle. What's your take on the Bears? They're 9-2.
I think the ceiling's higher than most people think. I know that people close to the program are a little, you saw like Joey Brackets, right? And it's way too soon, but he puts out, the projections in November and December. But it's the first time in a very long time Baylor is like, on the bubble, like for projections. This is a program that is used to being ranked in the top 15 every preseason dating back 10, 15 years. So it's almost, I think, good for this squad to be somewhat sneaky this year because it's been a pleasant surprise. I've called some of their games like on the plus side, and then if I can get the opportunity, like I'll fill in for John Morris on the radio side too. So I've seen a bunch of their games, and Cam Carr is the first guy you got to talk about. Everybody, Tunde Yesufu in the offseason was the guy, of course, like McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand Classic, he played out of his mind, or no, Hoop Summit, he played out of his mind. And he is a guy, when you watch him play, it's not like you won't notice him because he'll make huge plays. but he doesn't press to the point where you look up and you're like, wow, he's got 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals and 4 assists. Like, he's that guy. But Cam Carr I had no clue he was this good. I mean, really, why would anybody? Because he played 12 games in 2 years at Tennessee. And he has been well beyond expectations so far this year. And, you know, I'll work a lot with King McClure on that Inside the 12 show, too. And King was like, look, this guy's probably a lottery pick. And the only thing I said about Cam, just kind of breaking him down as a player, he's slender, right? Like, he's probably 175, but he doesn't really bang too much down low, even though, you know, he's a tall guy. But he's also kind of like a plastic man type dude. Like, he just finds a way to make plays on the interior. And, like, the guy, you guys have all seen his dunks by now, and he can shoot a 3, plays great defense, probably a block a game. So this is a guy who's going to be really special for Baylor, who I didn't expect. So I say that to say, like, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. And I think he's a big reason why. On the interior, they need a big guy. There's talk that they'll get somebody, like, soon because they're lacking depth underneath. And that was the Achilles heel last year, right? Because if, like, Norchad Omier got in foul trouble, it was game over. So they need depth underneath. They do, and I think they're going to add some.
Last week, you and King talked on Inside the 12 on just the incredible freshman class in the Big 12. Yeah. So, you know, just kind of give us a summary of that, and hopefully it didn't include Darren Peterson, who's yet to finish a game in 4 games played this year.
Well, look, it does include Darren Peterson because it's exciting in the projections, and we can't wait to see him play consistently, but I agree. There's a lot.
He plays consistently.
Yes, that is very true. Here's what I will say about the freshmen. And Ari, you know the game as well as anybody, and James and I get to go around and call these games. And you know, I did James's alma mater, Kansas State and Seton Hall, and one of the things I looked at when I was going up and down the rosters, getting ready for the game, I thought, wow, this is interesting. There's like only a freshman apiece on each roster. And, you know, are these guys really going to contribute and play that much? And that speaks to the overall country. And, like, look, man, we've just got grown men playing now. I did a Miami game on Sunday night, and they got like 3 dudes who played in Europe who seem like they could be, you know, 30 years old. And, like, that's an example of college basketball today where it's hard for freshmen to crack lineups and to get onto the floor. The Big 12, it's much different, right? The freshmen in the Big 12 are that good that not only are they going to make waves in college basketball this year, but we look forward to seeing what they'll be doing maybe next year in the NBA after being lottery picks. And I think a lot of that lends itself to the type of players that we're seeing. Like Tunde Yesufu is a great example. The guy looks like a linebacker. Yeah. You know, like that's important. Like Koa Pete. Yeah. Like, these guys are jacked, so they're not going to get thrown around by anybody. It's not like we're waiting for them to develop into their bodies. So the freshmen in the Big 12, I think, will catapult the conference right up around the SEC as far as, like, fanfare and talk. And I think it'll make their respective teams a lot better because these guys are not – you're not waiting for these dudes to develop. They are developed, and that's pretty exciting.
Pete, have you noticed with – all these NBA-ready guys across college basketball, and specifically here in the Big 12, like, it feels like to me the month of November and early December college basketball, like the game just feels more polished than it normally does in these early season months because of how ready these guys are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the one thing coaches tell us differently as far as, you know, you still will, and the naked eye, like, I don't notice this. Like, I talked with Scott Drew after their win the other night against Alcorn State, and he was like, well, we ran a play like that we run every day. And, you know, I had 4 guys going in different directions. So, like, we're not there yet as far as, like, on paper, right? And, like, the X's and O's. But to your point, I have seen so many guys, like, and I mentioned this with Yesufu, not press. Like, the A.J. DeBonsa, like, you watch him play, like, he's so quick to defer to a teammate. You know, it's clear these guys aren't worried about numbers. And honestly, I don't know when that shift happened because I'm not like, you know, I don't coach these teams, but it has happened. Like there's an unselfish style of play that we're seeing more and more of from younger guys coming up the ranks, whether they know that, you know, that's their ticket to the NBA, you know, to be able to be so versatile and to share the basketball, you know, that could be a reason why. I know, like, this is an upperclassman, but, you know, PJ Haggerty's at Kansas State because he needed to come back and show people he could distribute the basketball and play point guard. The unselfish nature of a lot of these players speaks to what you're saying, James. Like, there's a maturity and a refined nature about these guys that has certainly surprised me, that they have come into big-time college basketball in the Big 12, and they're baked. You know, I mean, there's still a little bit more cooking left, but they're way beyond what I expect the usual freshmen to be at.
Yeah, that's a really good
and
point.
It's all sport too. Like the AJ DeBonsa stuff is so cool. The guy talks about how he follows him, all of the stuff on social media, and it does seem like he has a cheat code in a sense where like he doesn't get too wrapped up in it, which is really impressive. You know, he's like wise beyond his years.
Yeah, he is. Speaking of selfish freshmen, Darren Peterson. James?
That's it.
What's going on with Darren Peterson? All
That's
right,
the tweet.
You all over this? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be 100% before he can play. So looking forward to him being 100% at some point this season and playing. And I'm sure he'll play for the majority of the season at 100%, as most guys do with the wear and tear. He's probably not selfish on the floor, but off the floor, he's incredibly selfish, as he's proving.
We by the way, like we know this in our profession, like a lot of times the best ability is
Availability, yep.
It's like, dude, you have to play the games at some point. And I agree with you. I think that some of these guys being kept in bubble wrap is frustrating for the fan, but I think ultimately it's not good for them. Like I think that we lose sight of like,
yeah,
you know, in the NBA at the highest level, you're gonna have to play through stuff, right? Like, so you might as well start now.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well said.
Pete Sousa, ESPN, NBC, college basketball play-by-play, joining us here on Big 12 today. Pete, Merry
By the way,
Christmas. Appreciate your time.
Can you guys see me?
No.
Okay. So I am on camera, though, just so you know. Are you guys on camera?
No, we didn't join the call.
Oh, really?
Well, we're on Big 12 Studios.
I was wondering why you had your camera off, Pete. We were very confused.
My camera's on, and I have a Christmas tree in the background. Come
Wow.
Oh, man.
But let's go ahead. Let's keep going.
Just, you know, we'd love a detailed breakdown of that Christmas tree. I'm sure
it's my mom's
40
tree.
Oh.
It's lit right now. I'm in Philadelphia. It actually
Nice.
snowed this morning. So, yeah, it is the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh, man,
is
that's
indeed.
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. All right, Pete. Good stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, fellas. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you, Taman, behind the scenes over there. We'll talk soon.
Merry right. Christmas.
See
you, buddy.
See y'all.
Pete Sousa, ESPN and NBC, joining us here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. Up next, Hans Olsen from KSL Sports Zone, daily host and BYU color analyst. He joins us next. This is Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn and Big 12 Studios. Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. You're watching us on Big 12 Studios, the Big 12 Conference Fast Channel. This is the Big 12. This is a different league. And we are really excited to welcome in Hans Olsen, who is on KSL Sports Zone Daily, BYU, and Bowl Season Radio color analyst, joins us here on Big 12 today. Hey, Hans, good morning.
It's great to be with you guys. Missed you.
Love it, man. Love it. So with BYU, man, there's so much going on with the Notre Dame series, but I think you make an excellent note to give a guy that maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves at BYU, and that's Brian Santiago, who we met at the Big 12 spring meetings back in May, and he had just gotten the AD job, but he has been, like, you look at the list of things that he's done during the last 12 months or so, it is insane.
That's wild. He's been very busy, and he's under the radar. Everybody had really kind of forgot who he is, what he's about, because Tom Homo was just driving this ship for BYU for so long. And then you get the announcement that he gets this AD job, and everybody's like, who's this guy? And the people that know him are like, oh, he's abrasive, and he's a little aggressive, and there was all this buzz of, can he do what he needs to do? Well, the truth is, he's been doing those things behind the scenes for a long time. He's a big-time fundraiser. He knows where the money is. He's a very competitive human being. He's had to been held back a few times from a basketball court because he's just so passionate about winning. And we're starting to see what he's all about. There's all kinds of rumors out there about how Kalani Sitake's deal got done, who ended up getting it done. But when the dust settles, it goes back to Brian Santiago because it got done. The money was found. Things were taken care of, and Kalani Sitake was sealed. So, yeah, a couple of the things he's done, signed and extended Kalani Sitake and his staff, signed and extended and found Kevin Young, making sure that basketball program has the money to get to A.J. DeMonsa, who, as you saw, it's the first 30-point triple-double in BYU basketball history last night for A.J. DeMonsa. It's just it's pretty incredible what he's done. And this Notre Dame series, this home and home with Notre Dame, is kind of the icing on the cake because this is something that every BYU fan has wanted, a chance to see the Golden Domers in LaVell Edwards Stadium and a chance to head to South Bend to see their BYU Cougars face that Notre Dame Fighting Irish there in South Bend. So he's done a lot of amazing things, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this team in the Pop-Tarts Bowl because, they've been so good all year with the exception of the 2 games against Texas Tech. I mean, how is the BYU fan base feeling right now about this season?
Really disappointed, let down by the College Football Playoff Committee. No question about it. Pretty heartbroken with how things went. And, we're going to get a chance to see if they were done wrong or if they were done right. At least a little bit of a glimpse to see if they were done wrong. We just saw Miami. Miami just kind of did the unthinkable. And this Georgia Tech team is going to be interesting. Haynes King is a beast of a quarterback. He's so good. I know he was finished, I believe, in the top 10 in Heisman voting, and he's pretty much all everything. But Georgia Tech's got a really good team. And the Big 12's got an opportunity to thump the ACC, where Arizona State is taking on Duke and BYU is taking on Georgia Tech. They've got an opportunity to thump the Big Ten, a chance to beat USC, a chance to beat Nebraska. They got a chance to take on the SEC, a chance to beat LSU. So we're going to kind of see who the Big 12 is. But to boil it down for you, 2 losses to Texas Tech. That's all BYU had on their schedule. It was 2 losses to Texas Tech. I know that it wasn't overly competitive in those 2 games. My hope is Texas Tech goes on and wins a national championship. And we can look back and say, see, we told you, that's the best team in the country, and we didn't get to see BYU, just how good they are. But we still have to let it all play out. But very disappointed. I think overall in the selection committee, not in the team, not in Kalani, but in the selection committee.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like teams that get left out of the college football playoff, they don't really show up for their bowl game. But with BYU, the way they destroyed Colorado last year in the Alamo Bowl, you get the sense that this team is highly motivated. What have you heard or seen kind of behind the scenes as they get ready for Georgia Tech?
But they're highly motivated.
Yeah.
That they want to end this season on a high note. There are some seniors that can use a little bit more film, and I do think that this Pop-Tarts Bowl is going to get some eyeballs. I think scouts are going to be watching guys like Isaiah Glasker. They're going to be watching guys like Jack Kelly, the two linebackers that have been so good for BYU. They're going to be watching guys like Bear Bachmeier. Bear Bachmeier has really exploded into a high priority across the country. I'm sure that there's a lot of teams clamoring to get this superstar freshman, and BYU is going to have to be very aggressive, make sure that they keep him. I haven't heard any rumors or any rumblings. That's just how it goes in today's world. Ari, you know that. We all know that. It's just how it goes today. But I feel like this is a team that wants to put a cherry on top of a really beautiful, entertaining, incredible, and exciting season.
Yeah, and as you kind of turn the page and look towards next season, this is a team that's going to be a favorite heading into the Big 12 next season, right?
Should be. Yeah, it should be. They lose a couple of great captains, and they lose a couple of great leaders. We got to see what L.J. Martin's going to do.
Yeah.
I'm hoping L.J. Martin comes back. I'm hoping he does what's best for him. Maybe what's best for him is jumping into the NFL. He had a fantastic season. It's going to be hard to better that season. But BYU's also been aggressive in the transfer portal. So we all know that they're going to go sign some great talent, and this is going to be a beefed up team. Plus, it's going to be interesting. They're going to have to put some emphasis on BYU. I think it'd be good for the Big 12. I think it'd be good for the country to put some emphasis on Big 12 because they are going to have this high profile matchup against Notre Dame. So it might be kind of nice for the AP to give them love, for the Big 12 to give them love in the Big 12 meetings, and maybe to put BYU up there. I think it's going to be hard to jump Texas Tech because they're probably going to go out and find their quarterback, and they've shown that they're going to spend money. But I think this conference is in really good company right now. I think the Big 12 is strong because we've seen Houston jump and spend money. We know TCU is jumping and spending money, and I want to see a good game from TCU. I want to see them beat USC. That's going to be a really fun game to watch, and in the Valero Alamo Bowl. So I think that the Big 12 is in good company. I think there's going to be a lot of competition, but I'm hoping to see BYU up at the top of the Big 12 conference. I just think it would bring a lot of attention to them, a lot of attention to the BYU Notre Dame game, and I think it'd be good for the brand.
Hans is a guy that played the game, and you know it as well as anybody. When you watch Bear Bachmeier, what are you looking for in this bowl game as kind of a ramp up into the offseason and next season? Where can he grow from what he did this year?
It's his intelligence and patience in the game, and that intelligence has led him to very few interceptions. What did he end the season with? 4 interceptions, or did he have a couple? I can't remember, in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
But very, very few interceptions. He made a lot of good decisions through the season, and as many rushing attempts as he had on the season, very, very few fumbles. Turned the ball over so little. For a true freshman, that's astounding. So I really want to see that in this bowl game. Just continue to be a great game manager. I like that he can take a game over with his feet. He broke records scoring touchdowns for not just a freshman quarterback, but a BYU quarterback. He finds the end zone. He's got a nose for it, and he's very powerful with his lower body. I just think that he is a great manager. I think he's extremely intelligent. I think he makes really good decisions, and I think he's listened very intently to Aaron Roderick, the BYU offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and they've really grown together.
Yeah, well said. Hans Olsen, KSL Sports Zone, BYU, and bowl season radio color analyst. Hans, you're so good, man. We appreciate you coming on the show with us here right before the holidays.
Good morning, and appreciate all your listeners out there. I sure love being a part of the Big 12. We're celebrating Christmas today here in this house, and then my whole family's headed out to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Everybody's excited to get their teeth on some great tasting Pop-Tarts. So we'll all be in Orlando for Christmas. It's kind of a fun Christmas gift for us, but sure love those Big 12 fans, love the Big 12 listeners. You're an incredible fan base, and I just hope you know BYU just loves being a part of all of this branding.
Yeah, get your hands on those Pop-Tarts and those sprinkled BYU helmets. They've got a little sprinkle down the middle of the stripe there. I love the look.
Yeah, it's I'm having to fight off eating that tape across the helmet. It looks good. I'm going to get a chunk of that full size Pop-Tart that they cook at the end of the game. I'm going to be down there mowing on that thing.
We've got to hit the blog. You got to blog about that experience so that we can take in what all goes into that. Good stuff, Hans. Appreciate it, man.
Take care. Merry Christmas.
Guys. You bet.
See ya.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Hans Olsen on Twitter at 975 Hans, KSL Sports Zone, weekdays, daily host, and BYU and bowl season radio color analyst, KSLSports.com. He's Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. We'll sneak in some valid or void Big 12 edition. I've got some topics, some hot topics. Okay, pistols firing. That's coming up around the corner. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo. Back here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you the Full-Time Fan by Modelo. With Ari Timken, I'm James Westling, T-Chains, Taman. Producing on the audio side, we've got Anthony on the video side. We're on the Big 12 Fast Channel, Big 12 Studios. Before we do a little valid or void, my dad is officially in the house. Yay! Ari's number one fan is here. My dad just met his celebrity icon, Ari Timken. And, he's going to join us a little bit later during the show. We'll get some things set up, get him on here. But I'm convinced he's not just coming on as a guest. He's coming on as a tryout for this seat.
Well, he's got half of it going already. Last name Westling, that'll play.
That works. Makes it easier for Anthony on the lower third side.
Yep. So his audition will be later on during the show.
Yeah. Super excited to have your dad in studio with us. He's got the Big 12 love on with the Big 12 shirt. I don't know where he got it.
He's got more Big 12 swag than we do. It looks good.
He's a company man.
Company man.
I would say he wears more Big 12 gear than you, but you're actually wearing a Big 12 shirt today.
Yeah, I know. I rocked it.
You had to iron that patch a little bit, but other than that, it's fine.
Just wrong arm, but we'll figure it out.
Seen better days.
Could have switched seats, but that would have.
Oh no, no, that's not happening.
Could never happen.
0% chance that's happening. I'm already comfortable on this side.
Right. I only
this
see
is my good side.
Exactly. See, I only see half your face.
People always say it's my good. Like, what does that even mean?
I don't know.
What side is your bad side? Or are they both bad?
Do you have a good
side? It's a bad picture of me. It's just like the greatest representation of you. What do you mean it's a bad picture of you? It's literally a picture of you. What's bad about it? Is it just that you're bad?
It's a great.
Is that it?
That's a great point. Story of my life. All right.
It's a bad angle. Yeah. Is every angle bad?
Carrying a little holiday weight. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, valid or void. We got 4 topics today. We will see if Ari is going to validate these or void them. I feel like last week we had a nice mix of both, right?
Probably for the first time ever.
Yeah. You're big into voiding most of these topics.
Just love getting my red pen out.
All right,
love
Taman.
to have my red pen out.
He's got his red pen. Taman's got the music. Valid or void? Big 12 Today edition. Topic number 1. Will Ari validate this or void this statement? We saw a bunch of blowouts again in the college football playoff, right? Group of 5 teams will never win a game in the college football playoffs. Tulane gets hammered by Ole Miss. James Madison gets boat raced by Oregon. A group of 5 team will never win a game in the college football playoffs. Is it valid or is it void?
Void. Void. Never say never in sports, James. What are you doing? Did Purdue lose to a 16 seed, to a 1 seed, lose to a 16 seed?
They did.
It was never going to happen.
It was Virginia first.
Thank you. You're right.
Coasted.
It was Virginia first.
I only know that because K-State was the 9 seed in that region. We got to play
you're
UMBC
totally right.
in the second round.
It's now happened twice when people said it would never happen. It obviously looks extremely unlikely, and I would imagine as we get further down the road, it'll become harder and harder, but it will happen. Never say never in sports.
Now, why I posed this as a topic, another angle, is that a group of 5 team might not be playing in the college football playoff in the near future.
But I mean, like the Cincinnati team that made the 14 playoff, right? Like we could have a future in which we have a team that is just that good. I mean, it was flush with NFL players, had a ton of NFL talent. Like, just never say never. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. In fact, I will guarantee you it happens.
Okay. Over under the year 2030 that a group of 5 team wins a college football playoff game. The next 5 years.
I mean, 16 seeds, 0 for 160 or something?
Yeah.
So how many years did it take for that to happen?
It took a minute.
And then it happened twice in 5 years?
Yeah, it took a hot minute.
I'm not going to answer your ridiculous question. I don't know if it's over or under. It's just going to happen.
All right.
By the way, robots will probably be over under robots taking over by 2030. I'll take the under there.
Okay. Feel good about that.
We won't have any college football playoff when that happens.
Did you see Walmart's testing drones delivering packages now? I mean, is Amazon doing that?
I have no idea.
They've got the robot deliveries that stay on the
ground. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is the FAA approved?
I don't know. Walmart's working on it. Saw a video last night.
Valid or void? Robots take it over by 2030. Go.
Valid. Definitely.
I'm with valid on that too.
Yeah.
So maybe it won't happen.
All right, number 2. Valid or void, Big 12 edition. The best quarterback in the Big 12, first team all Big 12 quarterback next season will be a transfer.
Okay, so you've got Noah Fafita, Bear Bachmeier,
Devin Dampier,
Connor
Wegman, Avery Johnson.
That was where I was going with this. Last time we saw Avery Johnson with Colin Klein. So I'm going to wait, let me make sure if insert Big 12 team has a new the Big 12 best will be a transfer. Void. It's going to be Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson, first team.
Okay, why am I higher on your quarterback than you are?
I mean, I'm here for it.
Colin Klein is home. He's home. There's no Matt Wells walking through that door. Matt Wells is gone. Our long, horrible nightmare of Kansas State football on the offensive side is gone, James.
The last time Avery Johnson was on the field with Colin Klein as his OC, 2023. He had 5 touchdowns passing, no interceptions, averaged almost 13 yards per completion, and as a rusher, averaged his best yards per carry, almost 7 touchdowns.
He's a good offensive coordinator. He's going to be a really good head coach. He was sandbagging for Texas A&M in their playoff game. Total sandbag.
Maybe.
He was trying to hold things back, not show too much for what he's going to show at K-State.
Okay, so does that mean your preseason All Big 12 team would have Avery Johnson as your quarterback?
Okay, I didn't need to get that specific. I'm just going through the list of guys that are back.
The best quarterback in the Big 12 next season will be a transfer.
Fafita,
Devin Dampier,
Avery Johnson, Connor Wegman, Bear Bachmeier. I'm telling you, the best quarterback out of the Big 12 will be one of those 5.
Okay.
And if it's not, it'll be Brendan Sorsby, and we'll all be wrong, and that'll be validated.
Yeah.
Who's going to be playing at Texas Tech?
You think Rocco Becht is headed to Penn State?
I don't know. Ask him.
Okay. It's just thought maybe he'd speculate a little bit.
My speculation ends outside the Big 12.
I hear you. All right. Number 3. So this is really just an opinion piece on if you were a college basketball general manager, all right, or athletic director. If a Big 12 team, insert Big 12 team here, has a new basketball coach next season, they should hire an NBA assistant, a la Kevin Young. Or do you lean towards guys that have coached at the collegiate level, have experience, up-and-comers, whatever? You'd go that route versus a guy that's very new age with all the analytics, an NBA assistant.
Okay, so just any NBA assistant? Just go find one off the street. Hey, do you work for an NBA team? Cool. Come coach our basketball team.
It's a hypothetical.
I love how you also made it basically seem like only the NBA guys have access to analytics. Like, if you hire one of those college coaches, they won't even look at numbers.
Old school versus new age.
I mean, I will partially validate this.
Okay.
Partially. Because I reject the idea that some college coaches aren't, all into the analytics. I mean, Grant McCaslin is Mr. Analytics, and he's got the college background. Todd Golden just won a national championship. He doesn't spend any time in the NBA. He's very analytically driven.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, I mean, I think, look, different strokes for different folks. I think if you are a program that has money to spend, you should go hire an NBA head coach, an assistant NBA head coach, because what you really need is somebody from a professional background to put together a roster that is probably more akin to the NBA. I think if you need to make, you need to really, maximize what you've got on a budget. If you need a ball on a budget, you go college.
How would you classify?
Overly simplistic. This is an overly simplistic question, so I gave it an overly simplistic answer.
How would you classify Jock Vaughn?
NBA coach. Because I don't know that he's coached at the college level.
Just this year.
Yeah. He's got the NBA background. Former NBA assistant, now a legendary Kansas player.
Sorry, I was just looking.
I was going to let the silence. That was a Silence count?
Yeah.
If I could remember these acronyms, it'd be a lot better. What was that?
AST, really high AST.
Really high ST.
Awkward silence tolerance. Crushed it. 10 out of 10. All right, Jock Vaughn coached in the NBA.
He was the head coach of the Orlando Magic, was the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, was an assistant coach a couple of different places. Yeah, he's an NBA guy.
How many years did he coach?
Valid or void? Jock Vaughn's the head coach of Kansas
Trying
basketball
to
next
find
year.
out.
Valid.
Valid?
Valid.
So he coached in the NBA.
This Darren Peterson thing's going to undo Bill Self, I'm telling you. He has hitched his wagon to a $3 million wagon that ain't moving.
Man, he was in the NBA a long time.
Do you see how much that wagon cost? That was $3 million.
It's an expensive wagon.
That is an expensive wagon that doesn't move.
It's got sick rims, though. From 2010 to 2024, he coached in the
spinning.
NBA.
It's a Chris Rock quote. I can't say the rest of it.
15 years. Really nice. Good stuff. All right, number 4. Again, let's look at USC. So USC is dumping their game against Notre Dame because it's too tough of a game late in the year. They're worried they're going to lose the game, be left out of the college football playoff for next season because of that reason. The best path, valid or void, the best path to the college football playoff is to load up the non-conference with cupcakes versus losable games like USC did.
I mean, are they? I do love
Cupcakes.
I do love to take shots at Lincoln Riley.
Cupcakes.
I'm not gonna avoid the opportunity here to take a shot across the bow at Lincoln Riley, who's continually looking for soft landings for everybody. I mean, just look at the way he talks. Like he is the Gen Z coach. Provide exit ramps. Give everybody excuses for why things didn't go well. Every loss is a close loss every year. Oh, yeah, we only lost 3 games, and those 3 we lost by 7. If you take those out, we're undefeated. We're playing the playoff.
Complain about travel.
Guy's got a whole boatload of excuses. He just puts them in his arms, and he hugs his excuses, and he loves his excuses. Look at me nurturing my excuses. I love you, excuses.
They play.
I'll always have you.
They play Fresno State and Louisiana next year in the non-con.
And then they're going to have 1 or 2 conference losses, and people are going to look at their resume and be like, yeah, not good. Stamp. Pop-Tarts Bowl. With all due respect to the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
That's what happened to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Is BYU a better opponent? Like, are they a better team for Notre Dame next season than USC?
Good question. Yes.
I think so, too. Good on
Valid.
Valid. There it is. We got one. Valid or void, Big 12 edition.
So the question is, the best path to the college football playoff is to load up the non-conference with cupcakes versus losable games.
Yeah.
The answer to that is no.
Okay.
There's no one-size-fits-all. Every season's different. So much of it is timing and based on who you play. We want to make this so overly simplistic, and it's not. It's not that simplistic. It's not.
Agreed. Yeah, good stuff. I like it. All right. Crushed it. Valid or void, Big 12 edition here on Big 12 Today. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Coming up next, we'll dive into our bowl previews, Big 12 slate. Ton of great games on deck. He's Ari. I'm James. This is Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios, brought to you, the Full-Time Fan, by Modelo.
Out of the
Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. It's a Takeaway Tuesday. We are brought to you, the full-time fan, by Modelo. He's Ari Timken on social at Ari Sports, A-R-I Sports.
Can we give some love to Taman? The music, he's killed it with the music.
Thanks, Ari.
Ever since you yelled at him on the air.
Look, it had to work. We got it to work, right?
It's tough love.
It's teamwork. Good cop, bad cop. He wanted Christmas music. I thought, some Christmas music would be nice.
I'm the good cop. You're the bad cop.
Yeah, totally. That's the way it works.
Anything I can do to
Damon,
help
who's scarier, me or Ari?
Definitely Ari.
Definitely.
Only
RD.
Only because I carry a knife into work every morning. What's the problem with that? I look like Michael Myers walking in here.
I walk in here sometimes, and Ari's by himself right when I get in here, and I turn the corner, and he's just like, how's it going?
Hey, have a seat. I've always said sometimes. You mean every time you come in?
Every day,
and I'm
Taman.
alone?
Every day.
Yeah. I turn that corner.
Someday, I'm going to come in here, and James is going to be here.
It's
as
better
well.
if
That'll be scary, actually.
Just
The
if
thing
you,
is, James wakes up at like 5. He wakes up before me. And he just moseys around the house, hanging out.
if we
Nowhere
come
else
here-
to be.
it's I've got a morning routine. It's better if you just don't make eye contact.
Well, hey, if you come here early, at least I know you didn't get gas at 6:30 in the morning.
Right.
That's right.
That's my thing. At least twice a week. All right, Big 12 bowl games. We're going to have Justin Williams, senior writer for The Athletic, will join us here in about 15 minutes. But we've got some Big 12 bowl games to take a look at. We've talked a lot about BYU and Georgia Tech, USC and TCU. This is the Alamo Bowl, the Valero Alamo Bowl. It's on Tuesday, December 30th.
Going out of order, I see. Okay.
Is there an order? Is there a specific order?
Well, I mean, there's games on Saturday, this Saturday, but you want to skip ahead to Tuesday.
Well, I didn't know with the replay. I should have broke it down better with Taman. So we go Saturday.
Can't do a live show for a
Tuesday.
replay, James.
Well, we've got a lot. We're checking a lot of boxes with this segment. Okay, just creating extra work for Taman. All right, we can go Saturday. Let's go Saturday.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl, Georgia Tech and BYU.
Georgia Tech and BYU.
This is an elite quarterback matchup. As we make our way through each of these matchups, it'll be obviously interesting for the context associated with it. Like in the Texas Bowl, LSU is going to have like nobody playing and nobody coaching, basically. But this game, Georgia Tech and BYU, is the opposite. It's a great game with a great quarterback matchup, and two, it's almost like Bear Bachmeier looking into the future to a degree. Haynes King and Bear Bachmeier. Bachmeier has that sprained left ankle that he's been dealing with, so we'll see how much he plays. And I mean, BYU is looking to get a 12th win this season. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech is going for a 10th win for the first time since 2015. And look, I can't wait to see what BYU looks like for their first time seeing them since, they really got clapped in the Big 12 championship. And Georgia Tech is going to have former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Chris Winkie as their offensive coordinator because their OC, Buster Faulkner, went to Florida, was hired by John Summerall. So they're going to have a new OC, Chris Winkie, at Georgia Tech. The quarterback's coach take over as the OC.
Chris Winkie, who played in the national championship game at the age of like 31.
He won the Heisman, right?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
He was north of 30, winning the Heisman.
Played for the Carolina Panthers.
LJ Martin, the BYU running back, is this the last time we will see him in a BYU uniform? I think is a huge story, and Hans Olsen touched on it earlier during the show. I mean, he had 1,300 yards this season. He has eligibility left. So does he come back to BYU? Does he move on to the NFL? But I've watched Georgia Tech a couple of times this season. I saw their big upset win early in the year, which at the time it was a massive win over Clemson. Watching them against Colorado, I just think an angry BYU team, which is what we're going to get in this game. We saw how dangerous they are last year in the Alamo Bowl against Colorado, and Haynes King, him and Bear have a lot of parallels. Like Haynes is a dual threat guy, almost had 1,000 yards rushing, over 2,500 yards passing. They're also kind of built the same. Like they look identical just in terms of their skill set, the way they run, and their throwing motion. But I really like BYU in this one.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know if we're going to pick these games against the spread, but yeah, I would.
Hypothetically, if we were
Because
BYU.
I went 2-2 last week, and you went like 1-3.
Wait a minute. Time out. I thought I had one game better.
No, because
Did Oregon? Did James Madison and what happened?
James Madison covered.
You're kidding me. What?
James Madison covered. It was a 20.5 point spread. The final score.
It's not been good. So yes, Taman, we'd like to pick these games.
That's fine. I'm looking at your picks from last week on my phone, and Ari, I have you as 1-3. I have James not winning a game.
Ooh.
Okay.
Did I get that wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Totally.
You did.
Had to. Yeah, we
Okay.
both took Miami.
Okay. That's right. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
We
you
had
guys are right.
Miami. All right, the other game on Saturday. Where is my schedule? This is a mess. Houston, LSU. This is a big game for Houston. Like proving that they belong on this stage. For LSU, is this the sleepwalking bowl for them, kind of like they had against Kansas State a few years ago with so many guys sitting out and coaching changes? Can Houston's physicality, which was really good in the Big 12, does that travel in a bowl game against an SEC team like this that's probably going to be better in the trenches? But Houston, LSU, this I just think could be a massive, massive win for Houston to get to double-digit wins for the first time in almost a decade. Willie Fritz football, the discipline, the effort, the toughness, I think they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, Houston starting center Demetrius Hunter is no longer with the team. He left, so that'll be interesting to see how Houston manages without their starting center. LSU is projected to start something called Michael Van Buren at quarterback. And again, this goes back to like LSU has Frank Wilson coaching this team, so it's like the Lane Kiffin era is about to take over. And they have a bunch of guys out. I mean, Harold Perkins opted out. Josh Thompson, an offensive lineman, opted out. West Weeks, their linebacker, opted out. Aaron Anderson, wide receiver. Mansour Delane. So, I mean, their best players are out. With that being said, though, LSU always has a ton of talent. I think they've got a ton of skill position talent. I'm going to take LSU plus 3 points in this game. If we're going to officially pick it, I will take BYU minus 4.5, but I will take LSU plus 3 because even though there's so many guys that are going to be missing, for me, there's a lot of guys playing for pride, and there's a ton of talent on this roster for LSU. So I'll take LSU plus the 3 points.
All right, so we've got we both like BYU. Taman, write this down.
I am. I'm. Yes.
What's the line on Houston LSU?
3.
Houston's favorite.
3-point favorite.
Give me Houston. I like Houston.
I'll
Who's
make
the
sure to
quarterback
note
for
this,
LSU?
too. Michael Van Buren.
Michael Van Buren. Never heard of him. All right, USC and TCU. This is the Alamo Bowl. This is the game that's Tuesday, December 30th. Josh Hoover's in the portal. Josh Hoover, he's not playing in this game, right?
Correct.
That's big. So TCU will start Ken Seals.
Yeah, you didn't see the big announcement?
Ken Seals. Texas
Where have you
native.
been, James?
Previous SEC starts. I couldn't remember his name off the top of my head, but I remember before the season
You even
we talked
sports,
about
bro?
Before the season we talked about the importance of having a quality backup in the Big 12. See Jeff Sims, Arizona State. Ken Seals was like preseason a top 3 backup quarterback in the Big 12. He finally gets his chance since he was the quarterback at Vanderbilt like 3 years ago for a really bad Vanderbilt team, but he was actually pretty good. What's the line on this one?
The Alamo Bowl line is USC is a 6.5-point favorite.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, without Hoover, I am excited to see Ken Seals because I'm curious what TCU will do at quarterback going into next year because it looks like Seals is the guy. And, we'll see if they want to bring in any competition or if how he plays in this game goes a long way in helping to figure out if he's going to be the guy. The game within the game here is USC's offense against TCU's defense, which struggled mightily towards the back end of the year. USC still has an explosive offense. I expect most of their guys to be playing. I like USC to cover 6.5 points in the Alamo Bowl.
6.5 is the line?
Yeah. Too much missing for me on the TCU side.
I don't like it. So Ken Seals, he's listed as a senior, but he's been a senior for like 3 years. So he's only played in 3 games this season. which means this would be his 4th game. He could use this as a red shirt. So he would have eligibility next year in what would be his 6th year of competition.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
Remember, postseason play doesn't count. It's only 3 games of the regular season, so he's good.
So he's good either way.
Yeah.
He'd be under that 4-game threshold, whether it counted or not. Man, USC's had a bunch of holdouts, but I'm with you. I just think that the Hoover, almost distraction. Like, I could see the TCU team really rallying behind Ken Seals. Eric McAllister, Jordan Dwyer is out for the bowl. Now, McAllister's going to play, but I still think USC is just going to be too tough. I'll take USC minus 6.5 as well. All right, next game up.
The Las Vegas Bowl, Utah and Nebraska. This one is on December 31st.
Nebraska 7-5, Utah's 10-2.
Call that New Year's Eve. 2:30. It's the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Utah is a 15.5-point favorite.
15.5? I still like Utah. Give me Utah. Man, Kyle Whittingham's last game. He's going to coach in the bowl game. I think the team rallies behind him. Devin Dampier, Nebraska without Raiola. Nebraska at 7-5. They're kind of limping in. Yeah, I think Utah crushes Nebraska.
The last game of the Kyle Whittingham era.
That is a weird thing to say.
So that obviously adds a very important wrinkle. No Spencer Fano, no Caleb Lovu, no Logan Fano. So will the offense be as effective as it's been on the ground game without 2 bookend NFL players and along their offensive line? Nebraska's also without Dylan Raiola, who's entered the transfer portal. TJ Lateef will start at quarterback for Nebraska. They also have moved on. They fired their defensive coordinator, John Butler. He's out. And then Raiola's uncle was the offensive line coach. He's obviously gone as well. This is an interesting one, and it's hard for me to pick Utah minus 15.5 despite thinking they're going to win this game going away. I'm going to take Nebraska plus the points. I do think Utah wins, but it feels like that's too many points in a bowl game for 2 programs that are fairly close, it feels like. Although I will say this, Utah is top 10 in the SP Plus final rankings.
Right.
And, so, I mean, they have a top 10 offensive rating. Meanwhile, Nebraska's 45th at SP Plus. However, part of what made Utah top 10 in the SP Plus ranking is their 2 bookend tackles that are NFL players in Spencer Fano, who's probably a top 10 pick, and Caleb Lomu, who's arguably a first-round pick. So, again, I'll take Nebraska plus 15.5.
Yeah, I like Utah. That top 20 rushing defense, top 20 scoring defense. Opponents really struggle in the red zone. Who's starting at quarterback for Nebraska?
TJ Lateef.
TJ Lateef? La who? Yeah, I'll take Utah. Now this will be.
Don't even know who Dylan Raiola is. Stop it.
Patrick Mahomes 2.0 tore his ACL. I do think that this will be like a really good preview to see what Utah might look like next year at the line of scrimmage without those 2 big tackles on either side, to see if they do have guys that are ready, because Nebraska is really physical up front. Their strength might be their rushing defense. They've got big tackles on the defensive side of the ball, so I'm here for that matchup. All right, we've got Arizona State and Duke also on Wednesday, New Year's Eve. CBS, 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central. The Sun Bowl in El Paso, Arizona State, 8-4. Duke, 8-5. Duke, the ACC champs, get to play in the Sun Bowl. What's the line on that one?
Duke is -3, which is really interesting. Obviously you look at opt-outs with Arizona State as potentially being a part of this. But I think both of these teams are highly motivated heading in. That's another one of those things you have to look for. Like where LSU, you're not sure that they're totally motivated. It's obvious that both Arizona State and Duke are highly motivated. I mean, ASU trying to get to 9 wins, monumental in another year of Kenny Dillingham, considering all the injuries. And Duke is also trying to get to 9 wins after being left out of the CFP despite winning the ACC. So they're trying to show they're as good as they've looked. Give me Arizona State +3. I'm not sure. This game's a coin flip to me in terms of injuries, but they're both motivated. I think they're both talented teams that are well coached. I'll take the points if you're giving them to me.
I want Arizona State as well, Taman. This is the Jeff Sims Bowl. Sims is playing, right? Sims is good.
Yeah.
Jeff Sims.
Where's he going?
Jeff Sims Bowl.
Where's he going?
All right, we've got 3 more. We'll pick them after we talk with Justin Williams, the senior writer for The Athletic. He joins us coming up next here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you, the Full-Time Fan, by Modelo, also streaming on your screen on the Big 12 Fast channel, Big 12 Studios.
3rd down.
Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, exclusively on TuneIn, powered by Modelo. Watching us on Big 12 Studios with Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. And hey, speaking of Cincinnati, Justin Williams used to cover the Cincinnati Bearcats as a beat reporter. Prior to that, he worked as a senior editor for Cincinnati Magazine. He joins us here on Big 12 today. He now covers college football and basketball for The Athletic. Hey, Justin, happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Same to you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
So with Cincinnati, with Sorsby entering the portal, just curious, like, with your connections to that area, where does that leave the Cincinnati football program?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough loss. I think they were prepared to lose him. I think there's a chance Sorsby still goes to the NFL if he gets kind of a good report on a grade. If not, I think he's going to make a bunch of money to be a college quarterback next year as well. But I think Cincinnati was prepared one way or another they could lose him, and they're going to be in the market for a quarterback in the transfer portal. Samaj Jones, who's a redshirt freshman this year, they're hoping, expecting he'll be back next season. He'll get a chance to compete for the job. This is an East Coast kid, former 4-star prospect. They like him, but he is, I think he appeared in one game this season. They like his talent. They'll give him a shot to compete for the job, but they're going to want to bring in a veteran, someone with experience, similar to kind of, what Sorsby was a couple years ago, someone who had started but hadn't necessarily kind of caught on. I think they're going to, try and go out and get somebody who they feel like can give this, offense a chance to maybe run similar to what Sorsby was able to do for him for 2 years.
I'm curious for your overall thoughts on the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, this to me is like a great matchup. I mean, on paper, it has the chance to be one of the best kind of matchups games of the season because of how these two teams line up against each other. Texas Tech's been really interesting all year. They've been the bully, right? They're the new Big 12 power that has all the money and has all these big time transfers. Now they're going against an Oregon team that lives in the same zip code as them. So it's going to be a little bit different dynamic than Texas Tech has really faced all season. But two really good defenses, two explosive offenses. I think, what I'm interested to see is how does that defensive front for Texas Tech, David Bailey, Romello Height, Lee Hunter, and then Jacob Rodriguez and those linebackers at the next level. What do they do to get after Dante Moore? And then on the flip side, that Oregon has kind of a young secondary that's been a little bit beat up. Can Texas Tech, are they able to make some big plays and try and get some big gains over the top? I think that the matchups on both sides of the ball are really interesting for both these teams.
Yeah, I think, Justin, the article that you have on The Athletic, you guys have a great point. Did we forget about Oregon? Like, Texas Tech and Oregon are I think there are a lot of parallels, not just in the way they play, but also in kind of trying to prove that they belong. And I pose the question to you, did we forget about Oregon after their loss early in the year to Indiana?
I think they definitely kind of slipped to that next level, right? They lost the game to Indiana. They didn't play Ohio State. Those two teams were kind of on a crash course in the Big Ten. And so it was easy, like you said, to forget about them a little bit. They went to Penn State and they had that big win that kind of then fell off the way that Penn State fell apart. But really give Oregon credit. They won some games in ways that they maybe typically haven't in the past. That win over Indiana in the rain, wasn't kind of a flashy, pretty game. They really gritted it out. I think that shows some of the development that this Oregon team has made under Dan Lanning. They're much better in the trenches. I think they're really deep. And then, yes, I get that it was against JMU, but it doesn't matter who they're playing. You can see the speed and the talent and athleticism they have, especially in the backfield and on the outside in that first round game, and just that kind of quick strike capability that not many teams have. I feel like, again, that's a balance that Texas Tech this year has shown and had a little bit too. And for Oregon, they were just kind of that third spot in the Big Ten, under the radar a little bit. And now all of a sudden, I think they're a slight favorite in this game. And I feel like that first round game, even against a group of 5 opponent, kind of reminded everyone, like, man, this team has a lot of talent and can do a lot of damage.
What do you think the national perception is of Texas Tech? Do you think that there's people that just feel like they loaded up on a bad Big 12?
I think that's part of it. I think people, have now, they know the name Cody Campbell and they know about the money, right? And they know about the transfer portal haul. And, the fact that I think BYU was a really good team, and the way that Texas Tech just dominated them 2 games this season, it can either tell you like, wow, this Texas Tech team's really good, or maybe a lot of people just think like, oh, they ran away with a weaker Big 12. They didn't necessarily have any marquee non-conference games to kind of showcase against. The one kind of misnomer I think, or misconception people have, is that it's purely first year, 1 year transfer portal rentals. Those guys we talked about, Bailey, Hunter, Height, especially on the defensive side, they really elevated this team. But they had like 20-something guys that got all conference honors for the Big 12. I think 13 or 14 of them were returning players. Like, this is a really good, deep roster. Jacob Rodriguez is a returner. Baron Morton's a returner. So there's some big pieces of this team that have been there. And so, I think you got to give Joey McGuire and just kind of that whole Texas Tech infrastructure a lot of credit for the way that they brought in and added these new pieces with all that money, but also kind of gelled it and made it a cohesive team that's gone out and yes, dominated, against a Big 12 that might be a little inferior to them, but that's a credit to how good they've been this year.
With Texas Tech, we're talking with Justin Williams from The Athletic. He joins us here on Big 12 today. They spent $7 million on that defensive line in the transfer portal. Just on that position group alone, and then Jacob Rodriguez, everything he's done. But for Texas Tech to win this game, it has to be more than just the pass rush and stopping the run. There are so many other things that have to happen. So, what's the area, the one spot that you look at that, hey, Texas Tech has to be really good here outside of just that defensive line?
Yeah, if you're looking defense, like, Bryce Pollock, Cole Wisniewski, those guys on the back end, they're going to have to make some plays. Even if it's stopping a guy for a 12-yard gain so it doesn't become a 40-yard gain, there's going to be those moments. I think the biggest thing, though, is on the offensive side, where we've seen Texas Tech struggle at some points this year is in the red zone, finishing drives. They get down there, they have to settle for field goals. And their defense has been good enough, their team has been good enough overall, it hasn't really hurt them this year. Against a team like Oregon, you can't be getting into the 30 or the red zone and settling for field goals. So I think the biggest thing for them, they've had really explosive plays. I think they have the 90 plays, the most in FBS of 20-plus yards from scrimmage. But when they get down there close to the end zone, they got to finish those drives with 6 points instead of 3.
What other matchups in terms of the playoffs are you most excited about this week on New Year's Day?
Yeah, I think I understand, there's some grumbling about the first round, and maybe it wasn't the highest quality of games. Even the Texas A&M Miami game, which was exciting, although, maybe not in terms of scoring wise. I think all these games are going to be great. You have the rematch in the SEC. I'm kind of curious to see another game with Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin. How do they look? How do they respond to? I covered that Georgia Ole Miss game early in the year where honestly Ole Miss should have won that game. Kind of fell apart for them. And then Ohio State and Indiana, obviously different games, but like those two have kind of been viewed as the favorite. How do they look in this next round with everyone advancing? I think there's some really exciting, interesting matchups, but honestly for me, not because I'm just on here with you guys, I do think this Texas Tech Oregon game is kind of the most fascinating one.
Yeah, totally agree. So outside of Texas Tech and Oregon, which other game do you see the most likelihood of a potential upset?
Good question. So what? I don't have the lines in front of me. I think Oregon's a slight favorite, right?
Yeah, so let's Indiana, Alabama, I guess by upset, lines excluded, just the lower seed winning. Indiana against Alabama, Miami, Ohio State, and then Ole Miss and Georgia.
Miami was a little bit intriguing. I just, I think they're going to have to score more, than they certainly did against Texas A&M in that game. So I'm having a hard time picking them over Ohio State. I think if we're just looking at lower seeds, I would give the nod to Ole Miss. Kind of getting a little bit of revenge against Georgia. I wrote a couple weeks ago, and we'll see if it maybe starts to build here in the next few days. Like, there's a chance for Ole Miss to kind of become like the fan favorite America's team in this tournament because of getting scorned by Lane Kiffin, and they're playing with a new coach. And I wonder if that's going to kind of become their rallying cry against a big bad Georgia team that really improved down the stretch of the year. Yes, they lost Kiffin, but they have all the players and they have the rest of the offensive staff back. And so I think there's a chance that this team could really maybe build some momentum. And if they can get in and get a nice little upset at Georgia, I don't know how much farther they can go beyond that, but I think it could kind of be a little bit of a cool redemptive story for them.
Who should Michigan hire?
Well, it looks like a lot of their candidates were maybe falling off. I think Dillingham would have been really interesting there. I think it's kind of cool to see him stick at Arizona State and get that new contract. I know there's been some Jed Fish talk. To me, it feels like they got to get away from the Harbaugh tree connections, and I know Fish had been there before, and not to like lump him in with that group, but just maybe get a fresh start and move on. That's why the Biff Poggi stuff of elevating him as interim, I'm not totally sure that would make sense to me. But I say all that, and I'm kind of just like, well, I don't know. I don't necessarily have a good candidate who would be completely removed from that history and who kind of makes sense there, because we've seen plenty of people in the past go into that job, and it's a tough transition to make. So I guess my broad answer is I don't have a specific name. I just think they need to go in a completely new direction from where they've been, the past few years.
The name Ari's looking for is Kyle Whittingham.
He's not retired, right? That was the big thing about his announcement from Utah. He's not retired. That would surprise me. I don't know that he was stepping down from Utah to then take the Michigan job, but I guess in terms of like a mentality sense, he would probably fit really good there, right? Like he's kind of been playing a brand of old school Michigan football at Utah for a long time. I don't see it, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah, we love it. Justin Williams, senior writer for The Athletic. Justin, appreciate your time. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Same to you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. See you later. Justin Williams, senior writer for The Athletic. He covered Cincinnati. He was on the Cincinnati beat prior to his time with The Athletic. He joins us here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you, the Full-Time Fan, by Modelo. By the way, Ari, there are, I just did a quick search, Michigan coaching candidates. Jeff Brom of Louisville is definitely, seems to kind of be maybe the guy right now. Eli Drinkowitz from Missouri, and then idea number 3, this is a USA Today piece. I would give credit to Justin, but they're he's focused on the college football playoff. USA Today, idea number 3, hire former Utah coach Kyle Whittingham.
It almost makes too much sense, which is why Michigan won't do it. Jeff Brom, okay. Whittingham to me is perfect. Like, you need somebody that can restore your program. They won a national title under Jim Harbaugh, but it feels like everything that Jim Harbaugh has touched has turned to bleep. In terms of the cheating scandal. I mean, there's just a lot been going on scandal-wise at Michigan since Harbaugh was there. And here you got a guy that's a full-on meat and potatoes coach that can restore your program. And by the way, he's not going to coach beyond 3, 4, 5 years.
Right. So
it's perfect. Like, you're not in a situation right now where you can get the really good, young, up-and-coming coach, but you might be in 3 to 4 years when this program's in a better position. Exactly. It makes too much sense.
He could come in, clean house, win right away. That's the other thing. They would win right away with that much talent and all those recruiting classes, and then set it up for the next guy. All right, coming up next year on Big 12 Today, we have a very special guest in the house. Spoiler alert, it's my dad. He's going to join us here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. We also have a few more bowl games to pick. He's Ari, I'm James. Taman on the controls with Anthony back at the Big 12 Studios headquarters. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. One final time, Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio. One final time live until when?
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
I'll be on the field at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. You'll be back here in the beautiful confines of the Big 12 Today studios. It'll be great.
Well, in case you can't join us on camera, I'm preparing a cardboard cutout of your face that will sit right there in your seat.
Why would I not be able to join via video?
Well, you just never know. Things
I'm
can
going to have
happen.
to FaceTime or something. There's a way to get me on, okay?
Things can happen. He's not going to be on the field and not be on camera.
Yeah, please. I'm not driving an hour out of my way during my busy season.
Oh, yes.
Ruining my vacation to go see some football game.
And then we'll reconvene on January
5th.
5th. All right. Nice little break.
Yeah, no reaction to the game on January 2nd on a Friday.
Right. But, I mean, you're pretty busy that day. Pretty busy that day, this guy.
I mean, maybe you should come in studio and do a show by yourself on January 2nd.
I think I should, definitely.
I think
Probably
you should.
will. I'll be here. I'll be here, dude.
Somebody needs to
I'm
react
ready.
to Texas Tech's win over Oregon in the Orange Bowl.
I'm more than available, all right?
More than available.
More than available. Very available. All right.
Does that mean you're getting divorced or something? What is?
There's
The only thing that would make you more available is like, well, I don't have kids or a wife anymore, so I can pretty much do anything I want at all times.
Nope, that's not true.
Because once you have a wife and kids, you pretty much can't do anything.
Very tied up. Very tied up.
Very tied up.
Like, very busy all the time. Hey, Cincinnati's going to start Brady Lichtenberg at quarterback in their bowl game, who has not seen the field this season, or at least attempted a pass. Last year in 2024, he's a senior, by the way. This is pretty cool. Pretty cool deal for him. He's been the backup forever. He was the backup last year, played in 3 games, was like 3 for 4, 25 yards against Houston. He was the backup in 2023, played in 7 games, but he's expected to be the starter for Cincinnati in their bowl game against Navy. We've got 3 more games to pick. What is the line on that one?
Yeah, Brady Lichtenberg starting, but also Samaj Jones expected to get some run in this game. This is a 7-point line favoring Navy, and I think this is an easy call, Navy -7. I mean, without Sorsby, some of the guys missing, and then on top of that, like Navy, they're not an opt-out team.
Right.
And this was a very good football team this year. They're also going for a program record 11th win with Blake Horvath as their quarterback, leading rusher, leading passer, plus Eli Heidenreich, team best 877. Did K-State lose to Navy? No, they lost to the worst of the
Army.
Army.
Thank
of course,
you very
yeah.
much. Did K-State lose to Navy in a bowl game 5 years? Yes, they also.
Oh,
did
they got
that.
smoked in that bowl.
Service academies are a problem.
Yeah, and especially for Cincinnati, give me Navy -7. Salute.
Horvath, Navy, it's their Super Bowl. They're 10-2. They're pretty good. Liberty Bowl, I like Navy as well. All right. Also on Friday, Arizona and SMU. Arizona's ranked 17th in the last college football playoff rankings. This is at Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. SMU's 8-4. Arizona's 9-3. What's the line on that one?
Arizona's a 3-point favorite in this one. And, I mean, this is another one of these games where, you know, both teams are pretty loaded up in terms of guys that have not opted out. This is a great quarterback matchup with Noah Fafita and Kevin Jennings. You know, the biggest thing here is, so Casey Woods is actually expected to coach SMU during this bowl game. Woods is the OC for SMU that's leaving to take over as the head coach at Missouri State following this bowl. Alonzo Carter, the running backs coach for Arizona, is also expected to be gone for Arizona as he's taken over at Sac State. I like Arizona to cover 3 points in this one. I like Arizona's defense against SMU's offense more so than SMU's defense. SMU's pass defense is atrocious. Remember that Baylor game? It has not gotten much better since then. Give me Arizona to cover 3 points.
Yeah, I like Arizona as well. I mean, SMU has losses to Wake Forest. Remember, TCU beat them 35-24. Baylor beat them earlier in the non-conference, as you noted. They also just lost at Cal. Like, their best win was Miami, and frankly, they shouldn't have won that game. They benefited from a late-game call that extended a drive and got it into overtime. This is a team that should have at least one more loss. I like Arizona as well. And just something about, like, Arizona's rise and Brent Brennan and them being really hyped for this game and Fafita and everything to look forward to. If they do get this dub, they'll have 10 wins on the season in year 2. All right, the big one, Oregon and Texas Tech.
Oh, the Orange Bowl. Oregon is a 1.5 point favorite. Give me Texas Tech plus 1.5. Is there any analysis needed for this? Are you kidding me?
No.
Oregon has not played a defense as good as Texas Tech's, and they played Indiana's defense. Texas Tech, they're going to see, is not going to allow them to do the things they've done that gave them a ton of success on offense. I think that front four is going to get after Dante Moore. He's going to make him very uncomfortable. He's going to make him look very pedestrian. Oregon has loaded up and feasted up offensively on bad defenses, and this is not one of them.
Totally agree. I like Texas Tech as well. My X factor, and I think everybody we had on today, I kept asking about the X factor because I was waiting to hear Texas Tech wide receiver Caleb Douglas, who has been really up and down this year. Like, Texas Tech leads the nation in explosive plays. A lot of those are to him. At West Virginia, he had 127 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 grabs. But then in the Big 12 championship game, it's ground and pound, lean on your defense. He only caught 1 pass. His game log for this season, he has 2 100-yard games, and then he comes back down to earth and has 1 or 2 grabs. And against BYU, the 2 probably toughest games on Texas Tech's schedule in terms of opposing defenses, he had a total of just 3 catches. I think he's going to have a big game for Texas Tech to do what they need to do offensively to get those explosives and win the game.
Yeah, and look, I mean, how Texas Tech's offensive front handles that defensive front of Oregon is going to go a long way in this. And I'm with you. I think, it's funny because this Oregon offense is known for being an explosive offense, but so is Texas Tech's. It's a very underrated explosive offense. It's not like, it's only defense for Texas Tech. And I think that's one of the things that people are missing. Like, their defense is so dominant. They're historically great. And they also have a really good offense that, the running game, you got to account for a lot of different pieces. It's Jacoby Williams, and I think we'll see some different wrinkles. The biggest thing is, I think the first, the cliche of football is the fast start. Got to get off to a fast start. Everybody needs to get a fast start. But with Oregon playing last week and having some of that momentum, they just played, they worked the kinks out a little bit, whereas Texas Tech had that layoff. It feels like you get off to a fast start here and things will, as opposed to if you don't, it's like, oh no, they've already played. This thing could go south.
Definitely. And it would be impossible, like the human being aspect of this thing. Texas Tech is going to have some pregame jitters.
Yeah.
How do they handle that the first 5-6 minutes into the football game? All right, it is the final whistle. He's Ari, I'm James. We have a very special guest in studio here on Big 12 today, on Big 12 Radio and on Big 12 Studios. It is my dad, in town for the holidays. So we welcome Bill. I feel like I should just let you two have the floor. I'll just sit back. He can fill in, and I'll just chill here for the next 10 minutes.
So what was James like as a child?
James,
what happened?
Where did you go wrong?
I've got some good James stories to tell, but James was a good kid. He really was. He didn't cause too much trouble, and he was pretty much a good kid.
That doesn't surprise me in the least bit. He still doesn't. He's asleep at 10. Doesn't drink.
I don't deviate from my sleep routine.
Lives a healthy lifestyle, very unlike
lifestyle.
me. Yeah, sleeps a lot.
At the gym.
Doesn't drink. Gives him headaches.
A little creatine in that coffee.
Probably takes too much creatine. He's looking like Mark McGuire a little bit.
My dad was my youth basketball coach for how many years?
Gosh, I don't know, 4 or 5. I was a terrible coach, but had a lot of fun doing it.
That's obvious. You also made him a K-State fan, so it's obvious that your basketball IQ is low.
Well, James became a K-State fan because I was a K-State
fan,
right? And that's my mom's fault. When I was a little kid in Topeka, I wanted to play basketball and I wasn't any good, and so my mom got wind of this basketball camp that was being held in Silver Lake, Kansas, by Lon Kruger, who was he was a freshman or a sophomore at Kansas State at that time, basketball player. So my mom would drive me and a couple of the other neighborhood kids over to Silver Lake, and we went to this basketball camp. And so that's how I became a K-State fan, one-on-one tutelage from Lon Kruger, and I credit Coach Kruger with making me the player I am today.
Is it true that James used to tackle his sister?
He tackled her a time or two. I don't know to the extent that they let on, but I do remember a time or two in the living room where he would assume the position of a defensive end, and our daughter would, be wandering around in the living room, and he'd full-on blitzer and tackle her and drive her into the couch. That happened a time or two.
And she's the more successful of the two kids.
She's tough as nails, I'm telling you. Yeah.
She's the one you guys champion. Like when you go and meet friends, it's like, you got to hear about my daughter, what she's up to. She's got to see it.
And you know this as a parent. You know, you love your kids unconditionally, and you're proud of both of them and all their accomplishments. So, yeah, so proud of both my children.
Sometimes I love one more than the other. Sometimes I love the other more than one.
One of my favorite things is my dad loves to get a full recap of any show that he's missed. So we do the show for 3 hours, and then he wants a 3-hour recap. It's like we do it again. But last year, you and I were picking games, and I wrote this down because you were all over Oklahoma State and their struggles, and we picked the West Virginia-Oklahoma State game. You and I both took West Virginia, and he just couldn't believe it. He called me after the show, and he said, "You guys both taking West Virginia over Oklahoma State? That's like a canoe going up against a battleship." No way Oklahoma State loses that game. Mike Gundy against Neil Brown. West Virginia went on to win 38-14.
Yeah, it looks like the battleship was West Virginia, and the canoe was Oklahoma State.
I missed on that one, no doubt about it.
Yeah. If you had been paying attention to Oklahoma State last year, they were hemorrhaging rushing yards. I mean, James could have run for 1,000 yards against Oklahoma State's defense.
Easily.
They were worse than I thought they were going to be, and their demise came quick, really. You know, they weren't that far removed from a Big 12 championship game appearance, and they just they declined quickly, and much to the surprise of many of us.
Now,
Looks like we've got a replacement for James here.
Right, if you closed your eyes, you wouldn't know who was speaking. You said you had some stories, like you really came prepared, some things that Ari would really want to lean into.
Yeah, so far I know, you haven't told me anything I don't know.
All right, I got a couple of nuggets for you here.
Kid, boring AF, but he's cool.
Doesn't leave his house.
I think you'll appreciate this one, Ari. So when James first started getting into organized basketball, and he must have been probably kindergarten or first grade, something like that, and you had these random teams, that were thrown together. The kids didn't know other kids on the team, and they wore these reversible jerseys, like one side was green and one side was yellow, and you'd flip them inside out, for whether you were the home
Still
or the
do it.
visiting
Oh,
team.
yeah.
So first game, James is they're wearing the yellow jerseys, and the first time out occurs, and James goes into the wrong huddle. He literally walks over there. You got this little blonde kid wearing a yellow jersey in the middle of the green team. And now maybe he was,
I was
trying
scouting
to get some intelligence to share with his coach. I don't know, but the other coach, kind of shooed him off, and his own coach is motioning him, "Come on, get over here," So not off to a great start there.
Oh, I would have been the dad yelling, "James, get your ass over the other huddle!"
I was scouting. I was taking one for the team, doing some deep dive.
I can
trying
only
to get some insight, drawing up some plays.
There is nothing about that story that surprises me.
Yeah, it was pretty
I can even
good.
imagine the face he gave when he figured out that he was going the wrong way.
Kind of etched in my memory banks.
My bad.
There was another one that came to mind, too, and I was kind of thinking about his playing career. I think he was about 6th grade, and I was coaching at this point, and it was like an Optimist team, and we were playing a game, and James was our point guard, and it was late in the game, and there was like a key possession coming up, and James turned to look at the clock to see how much time was on the clock. He kind of had to turn his head away from the floor, and at that time, the guy passing the ball inbounds passed it in and hit him right in the face.
Ultimate floor general. Just the catalyst.
Look, I don't want to place blame.
All about team first.
It certainly seems like the coach could have let the player know how much time is left.
Yeah, like I said, I was a bad coach, but that was another one that's kind of etched in the memory
I was
banks.
also really good at kind of scouting the opponent. Whenever we'd play a little man-to-man, and I'd always be really good at seeking out the slowest, most out-of-shape player on the other team, and I'd say, "I've got him."
He would do that. Oh, my gosh.
That's
They'd go
the
out
dude
and
that
everybody
I'm guarding.
match up, and James would take the smallest, most unathletic kid on the other team. I got this guy,
The path of least resistance. Smart man.
Right? I had to get buckets.
Hasn't changed a bit.
He said, "Think smarter, not harder."
That's right.
Yeah. So that was it.
We had a lot of fun watching him over the years, though, and there was one play that stood out in high school too, and Washburn Rural was a big school. I think it was like 1,600 enrollment. It was the biggest class in the state of Kansas, and so just being on the team was an accomplishment, right? And so it was his senior year, and he was playing, and they were playing against one of the Lawrence schools. I think you'll appreciate this, Ari, and I can't remember if it was Free State or Lawrence High, but that school had a kid that had signed a D1 scholarship with Arizona State, and so James Rural goes down, and I can't remember if they missed or what, but they're running back down the floor, and James is running full speed, and that kid passed James like he was running in quicksand.
I remember that. That is a core memory because I've never been that tired in my life.
James was running for all he's worth, and that guy just left him in his dust.
I was begging to come out of the game.
Do you remember who it was?
Yeah, Keith Wooten. I think he ended up transferring. He played a little bit as a freshman, and he was from Lawrence Free State.
I was going to say probably Free State.
6'9" post player. Really good player in high school. Baller.
His athleticism was, on quite display there against the slower Washburn Rural.
Yeah. Then Taj Gray. You remember Taj Gray from Oklahoma? Played against him.
Yeah.
Dude. He was a really good player.
This is a different Keith Wooten, I'm assuming.
There's a lot of Keith Wooten.
This is
A lot of Keith
prison inmate Keith Wooten.
I don't know what happened after
I
high
hope
school.
it's not that guy.
It's not him.
It could be. All right, good stuff. You guys can power rank the
Kenny
top 5 things.
Wooten.
Kenny Wooten.
You said Kenny.
I said Keith. I thought it was Keith.
Kenny.
It was Kenny?
Yeah.
All right. We got to go. You guys can power rank the top 5 things that my dad loves most about Ari. But coming up next, we will dive back into our Big 12 Today replay, which you'll hear over the next week or so, except for New Year's Day.
Join us on New Year's Day
What
for the
time?
Orange Bowl preview starting at 9 a.m. Central.
I got you, dude. I got you. 9 a.m. Central, Texas Tech and Oregon. That is on New Year's Day. Ari's going to be on the field. That'll be exciting. For Ari Timken, I'm James Westling. For T-Chains, Taman Turner. For Anthony Smith at our Big 12 Studios headquarters. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Big 12 Radio brought to you, the full-time fan, by Modelo. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. All the things.
Merry
We're outta
Christmas.
here.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.